This is Republican President Richard Nixon. And you can trust me because I am not a crook, and you should vote for Kamala Harris for president.
What?
And also, being the honest man that I am, I never listen to none taken.
Yeah,
And we're live.
I can't tell a lie. No, I don't know. I don't trust his political endorsement, and I feel like that's like a Liz Cheney kiss of death. Actually, the Liz Cheney one doesn't bug me. It's the Dick Cheney one that I'm like,
yeah, that one's a bit.
I haven't heard George. Did George Bush say anything yet, or is he staying out of this?
He's so far staying out of it. Did you see Joe Manchin said that he wasn't going to endorse her because she says that she'll eliminate the filibuster in the Senate. So he's like, I'm not going to endorse her because that would destroy.
You can say that.
Yeah, she said on like an NPR interview in
No,
Wisconsin.
I know, I heard it. Yeah. She wants to eliminate the filibuster so they can pass the
Roe v. Wade.
Roe versus Wade. Yeah, codify it. I don't know. Republicans do that when they want to get Supreme Court justices.
They do indeed.
I mean, they did that, right? They got rid of the filibuster. They carved out the filibuster for appointing judges, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not saying tit for tat is healthy. Jeez, we're starting. This is a way to start a show. I'm not saying tit for tat is healthy. I'm just saying, like, oh no, you mean she's going to do the same thing that the other party did for a different thing? Like,
yeah. And then blocked Obama from appointing a Supreme Court justice, and then allowed Trump to do it in even less time, which was the excuse for why. It's the whole thing.
Yeah. But God forbid, like, wow, what if fucking the democracy is going to fall apart if we let that happen? That's not how we're trying to start the show.
Manchin's
I wanted to say something else earlier, right before we started the show. We had a little piss break between shows.
Yeah.
Did you pee down the side of your leg? Have you been peeing down the side of your leg yet? All our listeners have been peeing down the side of their leg.
I have not. No.
Well, not down the side of their leg, out the side of their leg.
Out the side.
Have you been doing that though?
No.
Why?
No.
You should try.
I have a preferred method.
You have a different method?
A preferred method, yeah.
Oh.
I'm doing the same way for decades. I'm not going to change now.
It depends what I'm wearing. If I'm wearing like, gym shorts or something, I just pull it over.
Sure.
I'm doing it right now. I'm not peeing, but do you want to see?
No, I don't.
Listeners, send in pictures of you peeing down the side of your leg. Everybody's doing it. That's not how I intended to start the show. I wanted to ask you a question.
Oh, do tell.
I don't think it comes up. Oh yeah, it does come up in the show. So we'll talk about Puffy later, but I'm going to ask you a question. We can talk about it a little bit. And then I got a clip to start the show. You know who I haven't heard say shit about Puffy?
Who?
Well, who do you think I would say?
Oh
my goodness, look at him.
He's cute as fuck. Who? Huh. I don't know.
Snoop.
Oh.
Dr. Dre.
That's
Ice Cube. Fucking Warren G.
All the West Coast guys.
I bet Eazy-E would have a lot to say.
Oh, I bet he would.
AIDS got him fast, right? Like, I feel like he died like a day after we found out he had HIV.
It was really fast.
Yeah. He got the bad one.
Yeah, in retrospect, it does feel
in retrospect, yeah. I mean, it's got to be old beef from 90s East Coast, West Coast. I mean, he was literally the head of Bad Boy. Like the whole East Coast side of the beef was him.
Yeah, that's true.
It's got to be strategic that these, like, because they're all billionaires now, right?
For the most part, yeah.
At least centimillionaires.
Sure.
It is amazing to me how much, like, Snoop Dogg has become like a national ambassador. Like,
dude, that Martha Stewart friendship really, put him on the.
Which friendship? Martha Stewart?
Martha Stewart, yeah.
Dude, listeners, you would not believe in 1992 how terrifying he was to the average white person. Like, it was like, and as a kid, I was like, ain't nothing but a G thing, baby.
Right.
Crazy. I changed the lyrics a little bit there because I don't. It's not for me. It's not my word, Alan.
People forget about that.
Word. Well, sorry, what?
People forget about that.
People do forget about that. Yeah.
Biggie, Tupac, all of that was
Ice Cube.
Yeah. All
America's Most Wanted. Like, yeah.
Fuck the police.
Let's not lose track of the point that everybody on the West Coast side of that ledger hasn't said shit.
That is odd.
It is odd, huh?
Like maybe he has something over him. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think they're like, you know what? It looks like the legal system's doing his job. I'm not going to snitch. I don't need to say nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they're all in like they're like 50s now. So
I'm living well. The best revenge is living well. Looks like I won.
Why Why step into that cesspool when just step in your actual pool in Beverly Hills? That seems better.
There you go. There you go. Your Scrooge McDuck pool, right?
Right.
There you go. Oh, speaking of entertainers, here are a couple of guys. Loadmaster sent this in. Ooh, almost said government name. Loadmaster sent this one in. This is the Good Liars outside of a Trump rally. Just talking about musical acts. I got to get ready to play the opening sound. Okay, ready?
Ready.
What do you think about Taylor Swift?
I can't stand her. I think she should just mind her own business and sing songs.
What do you think about Kid Rock?
I like Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a great American.
Kid Rock has a song where he says "F you" to AOC and Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, I wish more people would sing that song.
But he's not minding his own business.
Yeah, but they're assholes.
Don't let me in his damn house.
Should we hit record?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Airtight. All right, you ready?
I am ready.
Perfect.
Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No offense taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken.
To episode number 403 of None Taken, the internet's only debate and current events show with your hosts Dustin and Alan, two political nomads from two different worlds. Shout out to Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band, going through personal time. If you're a fan and following him on Instagram, give him a follow, give him some kind words. We're talking
Some
about
love.
we'd like to thank him though for the use of his song Ways and Means for intro music. And we'd like to thank you for joining us. At the time of this recording, it is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. It's a great day for America. We are two coastal elites coming to you from the shores of the mighty Cumberland in Madison, Tennessee, all the way to the Pacific waters of El Cerrito, California. Here to recap another week of current events and sharing way too much of our tragic personal lives. Taking a sledgehammer to the culture war echo chambers. Please subscribe right now, wherever you're listening to this. And if you want to be cool, you can head on over to nonetakenpod.com. And instead of buying your bananas this week, just take your banana money, put it to the side, say, I'm going to skip bananas this week. I'm going to subscribe to None Taken's Patreon for the low, low price of $3, $9, or $18 a month, whichever one you want to join at. Only thing you get at $18 a month, we send you a shirt that says Culture War Veteran. But whatever one you select, I try to say pick and select. Whichever one you select, we appreciate you. You guys are the heartbeat of the show. We love we love all of you. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. Please go home. But yeah, you guys mean the world to us. But the people on the Patreon, we honestly like you more. So,
And you get cool stuff if you join the Patreon. You do get.
There's not just no reason for that. It's not just. Okay.
You get access to our hidden track that we record before every episode. We had a really good one just half hour ago.
Yeah.
You also get early access to interviews and things like that, and also some exclusive shows that we never released to the public.
Nope.
So also video was.
You know what's funny? When we did that episode with Cody about the Kursk invasion, I was like, well, this is like people got to listen to this now. Like,
yeah,
I think that's still pretty evergreen, honestly. Like that. Like that, and it also was very. What did he predict? He predicted the future well.
Yeah, no, that was a really good episode. It was really fun.
Yeah.
So join the Patreon. You can listen to all the back catalog too. It's all there for you.
Who else can they help, Alan?
Don't forget to support the people that support us. SlickestDigital.com for all your SEO and marketing needs. SlickestDigital.com.
Hell yeah!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope y'all are having a great week out there. I had some fun over the weekend. I had another Sunday fun day. Football over at Tim's. We played some Madden, and he's been practicing. He kicked all our asses, dude.
Practicing at Madden?
Yeah, I'm like,
he's been playing Madden.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
You think he sits down and practices, though?
Yeah, I think so. Well, when you play, that's practice.
Yeah.
You're talking about practice?
I don't think he thinks of it as practice, Alan.
How about practice?
No.
was doing Allen Iverson, dude.
I know.
Oh, okay,
Does he
okay.
spell his name like you? Do you know? It's with an E, probably, right?
It's with an E.
Okay. You notice all. You know all the Allens.
I know all the Allens. Yeah.
Is yours like Allah on purpose?
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. You should ask your dad. Oh, dad, if you're listening, what is he?
Huh?
Pod dad.
Oh, Pod Dad. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's pod dad. And then Natasha's lady taken.
Or you called him a YFD a couple weeks ago, and he immediately texted me when he heard that.
What did that stand for?
Your fucking dad.
Oh yeah, YFD. Yeah, I like that one.
That was pretty good.
reminding me. Yeah,
Yeah.
YFD.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
How about you, man? What you been up to?
I think I would say the biggest thing that happened to me in the last week is a 30-year-old product suddenly like made its way via my Amazon onto my doorstep.
Okay.
I've been snoring for a long time, like so bad that it's like I borderline. I mean, I probably have sleep apnea. Like I am. Natasha
Really?
has to wake me up in the middle of the night because I'm like choking on my snoring.
Oh no.
Yes, because I'm a fucking mouth breather because I got this deviated septum. Same reason I can't do cocaine is because of this fucking nose.
That's why.
Not that I've ever tried, but hypothetically, if I've ever tried, like that night when I finally go to sleep, I'm like, oh, I can't fucking breathe, and I'll never fucking do that shit again. So like, but I got a bad nose, right? So like whenever I first heard people say like mouth breather, I was like,
Like, is that me?
what do you mean by this insult? Like it's the big hole. That's where the air goes in and out of. I didn't like, and then, I started meditating. I was like, I can breathe through my nose, it's fine. But like, when I sleep, I tend to breathe through my mouth a lot. I don't know if you can see where this is going, but I decided to try out Breathe Right strips,
Wow.
the 1990s invention.
Yeah, like the NFL players wear.
Yeah. I don't think they do anymore, Ellen. I think that
Oh,
came
wow.
and went as a fad,
Okay.
but it cured my snoring. I have woken up so well rested from not waking up constantly throughout the night. Like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
not been hitting a good sleep because I'm choking to death every 30 seconds. Like,
Yeah, everybody I've ever heard who's gotten like the CPAP or whatever because of the sleep apnea says that's just amazing, the sleep that you get after.
yeah,
You
it's
can actually
incredible.
breathe all night. Yeah.
I wake up before my alarm now with like, because my body's like, well, this is what you're used to being rested at.
Right.
And I'm like, no, go back.
We have more
yourself
time.
an extra half hour. Like, yeah,
It's
been-
awesome.
It's dude, life changing. If you snore and you haven't tried Breathe Right strips, let me tell you about something. They're called Breathe Right strips. Sponsor the podcast, please. Breathe Right strips.
They're not that expensive either. Right?
No,
Yeah.
I bought a 30-pack for like $15. That actually
Nice.
sounds expensive when I say that, but no. Natasha had a show on Friday. It was a cool show. It was an unusual format. It was like art. It was like an art show, and people were doing like fashion walks. And then they had judges, and they were like judging who did the best job. And it's just a weird thing to do with art. Like, how art really should be like critiqued and judged.
Sure. Yeah. So was it like at a gallery or?
No, it was at this studio down the street where they
Okay.
do a lot of stuff. It's one of the places where we used to be able to sell alcohol and get fully nude, but then somebody ratted it to the ABC. So we have a theory that somebody's jealous ex. So without naming any names, somebody went and did burlesque for the first time and then came back feeling like super liberated, and then told her husband that she feels like he's been oppressing her for years, something like that. I don't know the details. I'm probably fucking it up. So he's got an axe to grind, and I think he's the one that called ABC because he was at the show. Like,
Oh,
I've never seen him since then. So yeah,
What a dick.
some lady left her husband, and he wanted to take it out on the fucking venue. So I had to get drunk in the car before I went down and watched all this. They can't, drink.
Can't do that sober.
Yeah. Anyway, well, you can't do that sober. So.
I was kidding.
It was a good show. Natasha did great.
Cool.
It was weird though watching art get judged.
Yeah, that is odd.
I was really looking forward to seeing Reverend Peyton play on Saturday, and then I went to pull up my tickets Saturday, and I don't check my email like ever. So I found out when I searched for the tickets that 3 days before the show got canceled because Rev's dad died. So
Yeah, man, you texted me that. And I was really bummed out. That sucks.
yeah, like just and by all accounts, he had a sweet post about their relationship, and it just sucks to see people lose family like that.
Yeah.
Very low on my concerns is the fact that he hasn't been in Nashville in 2 years. It'll probably be another 2 years I get to see him, but like, man, that sucks. We like to think that he's a friend of the show, and I mean, he DM'd me direct. I DM'd him and he said, yeah, go ahead and use the opening song. So like we have his permission. I don't know what the record company thinks, but we do have his permission to use.
We haven't got a cease and desist yet. So.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what money they get from us. We don't even touch the money. By the way, when we ask you to join the Patreon, we're going to do something with that money someday. Like you're not like, if anything's holding you back from joining the Patreon, being like, these guys are just using it to buy drinks once a week. No, we're like, no, we want to do something cool with the money, and it's getting stored in Patreon's account until they cancel us and probably steal it from us. Because I play one clip like this.
Inward. But like, how do people die?
Well, that's not it. All right. So none of those are even that bad.
I got to talk about a fucking dog dying.
So none of these are that bad. These are all lighthearted.
Lighthearted, fancy-free.
Yeah, oh, this one.
Fagatoga.
Okay, that's probably what will get us. Also, RIP to Oklahoma's offense. They played Tennessee, and I don't want to talk about it. And then Sunday, we just cleaned the house and we found a dog sitter on Rover that'll replace. I've complained about it on the show, right? About how far away our dog sitter is.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. So we found one close by, and the only concern is they have deers near. There's like a grassy knoll nearby. I can't think of what else to call it. There's like a wooded area nearby.
A meadow, perhaps.
And the deer. No, not the meadow. The meadow is where Bambi's mom got shot. Remember, you have to be careful in the meadow. Did you learn nothing from Bambi? God. It's like that and Old Yeller, man. Those were like the two bad ones. So the deer's nest, they make their they birth their babies there. And so Petra loves deer. So I don't think she would jump an actual fence, but that would be the only concern. But yeah,
does she want to like hunt them, or does she want to like play with
them? Yeah. With the kitty.
Yeah.
What do you say we get to some of our comedy clips?
Let's do it.
All right, Thrash sent this one in. This is it says cheese. I don't remember what this is about. Oh, these are just some observational comedy about cheese utensils. I think we can leave it as cheese utensils.
I've only ever used one side of a cheese grater.
Have you ever used anything other than the one, like the big holes, right?
The regular one, yeah.
Hole, right? Like not the big flat hole, but no. Like what is that one that looks like a bunch of like pock marks on it? What does that even do?
I think that's how you zest like lemons or something, but I've never used it.
Oh, there's a lemon zester for that. It comes on like a knife plane looking thing.
Why would you use your cheese instrument for lemons?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah. I'm not the only one either, 'cause everyone knows what side I'm talking about. Like, big holes. I refuse to believe that anyone has ever used the side with the 3 curvy slits in it. Don't need them. Get rid of them, replace with something I'd actually use in my day-to-day cheese needs. Like, for me, it'd be a device that in one smooth downward motion completely unwraps a baby bell.
Baby bell.
Someone told me the other day the 3 curvy slits they use for slicing cheese. Apparently. It's the word on the street. Now, if I'm going to slice cheese, my first port of call is seldom the grater. Call me old-fashioned, I'm a knife man. It's unpredictable. You always start out. You're thinking, well, this cheese cutting's going excellently. Oh, yeah. It just passed the halfway mark and the cheese takes over.
Dude, what is that? Right? That's totally right? Like it's like signing a birthday card or something. Like you just run out of room.
Yeah, it never fits where it's supposed to fit.
It always curves. Like I'm chopping straight and then it curves. Why does it do that, Alan? Why does it do that?
I don't know. There must be a physics explanation, but I'm not sure what it is.
You know what? We got smart listeners.
I think that the 3 thing side on that's actually dangerous. They should stop doing that. That's like an OSHA violation waiting to happen.
You're gonna put your finger on it or something.
Yeah,
it's gotta come with a guard or something. That's
There you go. Yeah.
And again, the cheese will get stuck on the inside. You see what happens when you grate it? There's always like cleaning the inside of the cheese grater is always the hardest part, right?
It sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you put like slices through there? They're gonna get stuck in there. Nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that. No one
does that.
No
one does that.
All right.
And you have to shred your own cheese if you want to make a bechamel, because if you buy it in the bag, they put that.
You make a bechamel. What?
Bechamel, like
what's
a
a bechamel?
It's like a white sauce with cheese.
Like Alfredo?
Yeah, similar.
Natasha made something Alfredo once, like not once, like recently, and she's like, I figured out why Alfredo tastes so good.
A lot of butter.
Just a lot of cheese and butter. Like
Yeah. No, but if you buy the pre-shredded cheese at the store,
Yeah.
they put stuff in there to keep it from clumping, and it doesn't make a good sauce. So, tip for you. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Now
sure.
you-
It's like what they put on the inside of a plastic, like that powder or whatever, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Glide, right?
Sawdust, probably.
It's like old milk, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's my note on this one? Do you see it? Kids in casts. You never see kids in casts anymore.
When's the last time?
Oh man, I didn't get that last guy's name. This is Andrew Slater, Sleighter.
Time you saw a kid with a cast on?
Never.
Remember? There used to be kids with casts everywhere. I used to walk in the 3rd grade. It was like a VA hospital. You know, just leg up in the air, eye patch. Like, whoa, what happened to you? You know? No casts anymore. Now all the injuries are psychological that they get online. That's not as fun. You know, no one can autograph your crippling anxiety.
That's not like Taylor.
When's the last time you saw a kid?
Okay. That's how I sounded. This is kind of weird. The guy from the first clip, his name is James A. Castor.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that something, Alan?
How about that?
Felina's Josh sent that one in. This one's me. This is the guy that we're gonna have on the show.
Like 2 weeks?
No, it's next week, dude. Next
Really?
Thursday or next Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm still not ready for this interview. What are we gonna talk to him about?
I have no idea.
I think it'll be fine, but like,
I'll watch some stuff.
I don't want to talk to him about comedy. I got myself in over my head here.
We'll figure it out. We always do.
All right. I'm worried. I
Don't be
was
worried.
really hoping you'd have an answer. You're like, we can talk to him about this. This is Billy Wayne Davis, soon to be friend of the show.
Yes.
I'm terrified.
I know how the accent sounds. I'm aware. It sounds dumb. I get it.
I guess I could just talk to him about Tennessee ass shit.
It's a scam. We're all running. People think we're way dumber than we actually are. It's the opposite of the British accent. Think about it. Yeah, they sound smart, but if you listen, you're like, oh, you're dumb as hell. I get it. There's certain words I shouldn't say. Makes people uncomfortable.
Oh dear.
Like my wife is Jewish. Just saying that, people are like, hey, easy. Careful. Like, what? I married a Jew. People are like, I know you can't say that. Like, you can't say that. We just had a baby. I made a Jew. People are like, I gotta get out of here. He's trying to get people fired. Don't go there.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
I know it's not people laughing, but you don't get to play the American Psycho clips very often.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
I bet we could talk to him about NASCAR.
Do you think so? The button's on another screen.
That was an accent joke. I think the accent really made the cheese jokes better, actually. So maybe he has a point.
Oh, you're right. We treated that a lot more seriously because it was like, well, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Right.
He's British.
British accent gets you every time.
My only note here is Cuba. I think Alan sent this in.
Okay.
Did you send me a Cuba Gooding Jr. joke?
Yes, I think so.
This is Zach Mama. His name can't be Zach Mama.
Okay. I thought this would be in the hidden track, but it's fine. It can live here.
Nope. I like that it bothers you. I don't know. Zach Mama.
I don't know why you put
name
cute.
Zach Mama. Oh, you know what? He's
I do.
the French.
The
It's right there. I found the button.
I first lived in Philadelphia with a black family of jazz musicians, and they emailed me. They said, Zach, you sure you want to live with us? We live in the hood. And I didn't know that word. I thought it meant the woods. So I replied, I said, yeah, guys, I love nature. And I was the only white person the entire year there. Everybody there called me the N-word, but I didn't get it. I thought everybody was just misgendering me the whole time. Yeah, because my name is Zach, and I really thought everybody called me Monica. Like, yo, what's up, Monica?
Oh, God. I just had a flashback to a really drunk night. I'm going to finish the joke, but I need to tell this afterwards.
Okay. I think that's most of it, actually.
Now, if you're white, you didn't get it. You don't have any black friends that I can see, guys. Yeah, some of you need to make some friends. Yeah. And I did that joke one time in Miami, and there was only one black person in the room. It was a famous actor. You guys know Cuba Gooding Jr.? Yeah, he was there, and he followed me outside after the show. And then he said, you see what you did in there, man? You made every white person uncomfortable as f***, man. That's true comedy, man. Keep doing that shit. So I'm still doing it.
I had black friends growing up.
Dude, I don't know why I put myself in a position where I have to tell this story.
Yeah, why'd you do that? Here we are.
Do you remember that song where the edited version, the chorus was a hip hop song from like, I'm just gonna guess like 2016, something like that, 15. He's like, my hitter. That was the edited version. Yeah. And it was really loud. We were at a party. And you know, I had been talking to this guy earlier in the night. I thought I'd become friends with him, and it was just like leaning over. It was like my hitter during that, and he couldn't hear me.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I'm convinced he thought I said, you know, where's my New York Times clip?
Inward.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's you know.
That's
I would really like to move on. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's move on.
Why don't we get into our
how about that
segment?
Yeah, let's.
Radical. Jesus, this honestly, every once in a while, I don't feel like I have enough stuff for the how about that segment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can make the show go by faster and skip this one, but it's too late. I'm going to warn you, it's Andy Dick on the Norm Macdonald show.
Oh, that's a train wreck.
This will, yeah. You know what? Enough setup.
Yeah.
I got to share it. Hold on. Okay. All right.
I believe
we'll call this radical anti-homophobia.
Okay.
that a person that is not homophobic, because I think homophobia runs very deep.
Yes.
And I would say, that's what I say to my friends. I go, well, if you're not homophobic, why not whack off your friend that's a gay guy? Like, what's stopping you? Or blowing him? Or letting them fuck you in the ass?
I love how he maintains such deadpan. Like, he is so, like, how many times did you have to practice that to be able to just say it? And he's just like,
well, you can even see
it's just self-control of the facial muscles.
Yeah.
Right?
But you can even see Andy's reaction, and not a lot will make Andy react. You can see him like, go, like, what did you say?
Yeah.
What's stopping you? You're not getting anything out of it, but he's having a hell of a time.
Well, that's where my window of opportunity.
I bet it is, right?
One of them, you know. Only if I like the person, and that's one of my arguments. But come on, it would be like that. It is kind of gross, you know, if you're not.
There is one line right when this clip ends, and it's just I
into it because it's like why not jerk your dog off? You know, your dog probably likes it, but that's.
Oh,
yeah, why not?
That would be where Andy Dick takes the joke. Yes.
I don't think when he said that, he thought that Norm would say, yeah, why not? Like, I think Andy Dick thought he went far enough, and Norm's like, of course, exactly. Like, yeah. All right.
How about that, indeed?
You know, when we had Fritz on, he talked about that comedian he liked, Andy Strickland Williams. Alan Strickland Williams, and I saw Strickland and Fritz at a show together once, and one of Strickland's jokes at the time, this is like 15 years ago, is like, you know, if I'm not supposed to fuck my cat, why is it walking around with his tail up all the time? A joke that sticks with you, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not condoning this, right? Is it coming across that way? I'm very uncomfortable.
We're in the how about that segment.
That doesn't make it the trust tree, Alan. Okay, this is a clip of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in Finland. Remember last week we played that Finland clip where they talked about the word for bag in Finland is pussy.
Yes.
So apparently we're a Finland language podcast. I don't think you have to know what they're talking about to get this. If you think there needs to be explanations, feel free to explain afterwards. This is all in Finnish. And just keep in mind, it's a multiple choice answer on Finland's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Who wants to be a millionaire? That was a bad Regis impression. I'm sorry.
Mikä on Thaimaan pääkaupunki? A. Bangkok. B. Bangdik. C. Bangpussy. Vai D. Bangtits.
Okay, let's do the Jeopardy style. What's the question, Alan?
What's the capital of Thailand?
Yes, you got it. Yes, it's not Bang Dick, Bang Pussy, or Bang Teats.
He has to think about it.
He had to think about it. He did.
Oh,
I have to call it first.
I like the European dance music in the background.
I know it's a little different, right?
Yeah,
yeah. That's funny. I didn't notice that. This week's episode has a little bit more serious subjects coming up. And how about that? I don't care what you think about that. Let's get into it.
Oh, happy day. They're restarting the nuclear reactors on 3 Mile Island, also known as America's Chernobyl.
When you hear 3 Mile Island, am I the only person that hears Jimmy Buffett say, "Don't want to be in no 3 Mile Island"? Dun, 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 dun. I don't remember the rest of the lyrics.
That does not pop into my head when I hear 3 Mile Island. sorry, not to yes and you.
Okay. I just there's gonna be someone that DMs me and says, "I love that Jimmy Buffett song." One time I did cocaine with Jimmy Buffett on a parrot.
We're so excited. And what's that? They're not going to be using it to power homes or electric cars or hospitals. 3 Mile Island's nuclear reactor is only going to be used by Microsoft in a 20-year contract to power data centers that are being used for AI. Oh, and what's that? The reason why this is the only nuclear power reactor being restarted in recent American history is because Microsoft trained AI language models to understand nuclear regulatory paperwork to fill out the 2 million pages worth of documents needed to turn back on this generator that only they will use for 825 megawatts. Oh, and what's that? The company is not going to call it 3 Mile Island. They're rebranding it. Great.
How about that?
How about that?
I think I actually read somewhere that Gates.
I read about this too. I didn't hear all those details.
Right, but I think Gates is really into like nuclear energy, and he's working.
Of course, he is. Yeah,
investing a bunch of money into like what's supposed to be like safe and clean nuclear energy. But
I don't know that you start with 3 Mile Island.
Yeah, that seems like a bad place.
Proven faulty, right? Like when me and you talk about nuclear all the time, we're like, America needs to get back on nuclear. All the new nuclear reactors are made in ways that fail into it. Like I know, like the word fail safe sounds like it's just a word, they fail into a safe position. They fail cold. Like they don't have all these like contingencies that require X and Y to operate to keep it from overheating. Like they fail in a way that is safe. I don't think 3 Mile Island's one of those.
Well, I'm sure he just patched it with $100 bills. It's fine.
Hundreds. Yeah. A bunch of Benjamins. Bunch of President Benjamin Franklins. Who sent this? Loadmaster sent this one in. This is your tax dollars at work. This is so when I went to New York, I used my credit card every time instead of buying a pass when we got on the subway. I don't even know how much I spent. I don't even know how much they don't tell you. They don't say, by the way, it's a $3 transaction. I wish it was $3. I bet it wasn't. And it wasn't just 2. It was me and Natasha. And I paid each time, but I could have just like slipped through. There's fare jumpers left. People were jumping the fare every time I went in there. But I was like, it happens that much money. I don't want to think about it. I never even looked at my statement. It's fine. But one of the times I did it, I was a dummy and I didn't walk through the thing right, and it spun and I didn't walk through the turnstile, and a cop was there and he just opened the gate. He's like, just walk on through. And I was like, man, people be walking through that gate all the time though. Like everybody was fare jumping. So obviously it's a big thing. Everybody's familiar with this, that people jump the fares on the New York subway.
Last year, the NYPD saved us $104,000 in stolen MTA fare. All it cost was $150 million. But hey, you can't put a price on justice. All you can put a price on is $104,000, which is $150 million. Last year, the
all you can do put a price on is $104,000, which is $150 million.
It makes perfect sense. I'm sure somebody in Eric Adams' administration is lining their pockets with that money.
Oh boy, I don't have any news on that. Has there been an update since our last show about that?
Another person is going to resign in his administration. I think it's like a something to do with schools, but there's just more and more corruption coming out. There's more and more FBI investigations. I mean, if you're a special agent at the FBI and it's your job to investigate corruption, political corruption, I think it's a gold mine right now. You're just having the time of your life.
I'm really shocked that a former cop turned politician might have been corrupt. Like, it's really
Who lied about his residence in New York.
Also, look, let's not forget the number one fact about him is that he took multiple jet ski lessons. He talked about, he's like, I took jet ski lessons.
Yeah, multiple.
I've ridden jet skis a lot without a lesson. Like, I don't understand this man that needs to have more than one lesson for his jet ski. This man's not trustworthy, not a trustworthy individual.
Yeah, it's a jet ski.
Who do you think has more people left in their campaign?
Administration?
Eric Adams or Mark Robinson? We get to him in our
Isn't that something?
which we are now a part of. I have not watched the full From Russia with Lev video yet. Have you watched the documentary yet?
I haven't either.
It's on your favorite network. It's on your MSNBCs. I know,
It is.
and it was produced by
Rachel Maddow.
Rachel Maddow. So I'm Alan.
It's right in my
not
wheelhouse.
you are not living up to your end of the show. When I heard that this was happening, I got to admit, I did not have Lev Parnas. Alan, who's Lev Parnas?
He was the guy that was the former.
There was two of them. There was Lev and Igor.
Yeah. He was
They
like
were
a
henchmen for Rudy Giuliani.
henchman for. They tried to get dirt about Hunter Biden in Ukraine.
So what I've seen from I've seen the trailer for this, and I didn't want to play the trailer because it was a trailer and it says from Rachel Maddow, and it was like, I'm not playing that on the show. But from the trailer, he's like, there's a lot of clips of him being like, yeah, I was at this meeting with Trump and I just spoke loud enough so he could hear me. And then he's like, what's that? And I was like, well, that
ambassador.
What did he say about her? He's like, oh, she's corrupt. And she's saying that you're going to get impeached anyways. And he's like, you know what? We got to get her fired. And then that's literally what happened was him. And then he turns to the camera, like in The Office. They go back to The Office. And he's like, I didn't know what I was talking about. I had just heard rumors. I was sharing gossip and he's like, I'm a guy from New York that happened to meet another guy from New York that he's like, look, scumbag recognize scumbag, basically, right?
yes, very much.
The other scumbag we're talking about is Trump, right? Everybody understands. Are they following? I know you're following.
I think they're following.
Okay. I guess you can't check in with them, but you have access. I just talk. So when I saw that this documentary was coming out, I did not have on my bingo card Lev Parnas apologizing to Hunter Biden face to face. But here we are, 48 seconds. Ready?
Ready.
You have to understand, Hunter, at that time, I truly believed there was a deep state. I truly believed that you were up to some but there was never any criminality and anything. That's the whole thing. They were just basically, innuendos, conspiracy theories, but no actual facts. The crazy part, I feel embarrassed, Hunter. I got your bank records.
How does it get my back?
It is crazy to me how much Hunter sounds like Joe.
Yeah, younger Joe, for sure.
Yeah, here.
I got your bank records.
How does it get my bank records? My bank records aren't even on a computer.
I got an email from John Solomon that said that his friends at the FBI.
He thinks his bank records aren't on. That's something a crackhead would say. It's like, I left my computer at that blind watchmaker shop.
Got your records. I don't know where, how, what.
So the FBI secretly subpoenaed and got my bank records under the Trump administration, handed them to John Solomon, and then Rudy Giuliani recirculates them back into the DOJ and on the.
Okay, him being the person that teaches us that makes it not the most compelling version of that story.
Sure.
That feels huge.
That's wild.
Hearing that, can I play that again?
Under the Trump administration, handed and got my bank records under the Trump administration.
One more second, okay.
Subpoenaed and got my bank records under the Trump administration, handed them to John Solomon, and then Rudy Giuliani recirculates them back into the DOJ and on the meeting.
Absolutely. John Solomon, him and Hannity and Fox had a whole system. You have to understand.
That is something.
Isn't that something?
That is something. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something for sure.
You got any more than that?
I mean, you want to talk about the deep state out to get somebody? Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, I know, the two-tiered justice or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You mean they're weaponizing the Justice Department against you, Donald? I mean, I know that come on. I know that you did everything right.
I did everything right, and they indicted me.
Perfect phone call.
Thank you.
You can't make this shit up.
You can't make it up. Let's talk about Hezbollah real quick. I know we talked about it a little bit in the hidden track, but that was just to wet your whistle. Here is Dave DeCamp. Oh, I promised you we'd play this.
Yes.
So I listen to anti-war radio every morning. Gotta thanks James for getting me onto that. One thing, like, James likes our show. James got me onto that show. I love that show, but I criticize that show a lot. And James is like super cool. Like, dude, he likes that show still too, just like I do. Sure. He's like, I love. He likes hearing us be critical of it in the way that we are. I really enjoy the, like, what do you call it? Like, ecosystem of listeners and like friends group that we have. From
no, it's very cool. It's very cool.
You don't meet a lot of people like that are like, because normally if you do, it's like, dude, what the fuck? I love Dave DeCamp. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Anyways,
open-minded.
Because you'd think that if you're going to go to a place like Anti-War, that's going to make you question your beliefs, that you would maintain an open mind rather than being like, no, I'm open-minded only this way. Like,
that's the opposite of open.
Yeah, exactly. So here's Dave DeCamp being confused about how missiles can be stored in civilian structures. And I think this is enough context for us to start talking a little bit more about what's been going on. Whenever this comes out, there's going to be new news because Israel just started their war with Lebanon, which I don't imagine ends soon. Although, given the success that they've had in this short amount of time, Lebanon's response to this, I keep saying Lebanon, Hezbollah, Iran's response to this is becoming more and more limited. Have you noticed, like, when they had the because they killed some senior officials with the pager strikes and the walkie-talkie strikes, and they had a funeral, and if you watched the funeral procession, there was a bunch of the Hezbollah flags, which is to be expected, but you would think there would have been one pine tree flag, right? Like, you know the flag of Lebanon, you've seen it in people's rearview mirrors, right? Like they would have the pine tree, or System of a Down concerts, right? Like why was there not one flag with the pine tree on it? Not one.
Well, I mean, it's a failed state essentially at this point, and especially in that region, Hezbollah is the government. So.
Even MAGA has American flags, Alan.
That's fair. That's true.
They bombed many houses, residential areas. The Israeli military claimed that Hezbollah was storing large missiles and missile launchers inside houses. They didn't offer any real evidence for this claim besides.
They didn't offer any evidence for this besides some animation.
It's these animated videos that they released, and they also put out some overhead footage that purported to.
I just don't understand standing for this. Like, they are a terrorist organization. They're literally a terrorist organization. Like,
and they're doing what terrorist organizations do, which is hide behind civilians.
So it's like, oh, if you believe the government, it's like.
Also put out some overhead footage that purported to show airstrikes on homes in Lebanon.
What's the word purported doing in that sentence? Like if you believe them.
On homes in Lebanon, and they said, oh, you look at these, there's secondary explosions.
Then the tone when he says secondary explosions, like you watched the hidden track with me, right? Like, there was literally a fireworks
very clearly
after they hit a house because they were storing ammunition there.
Yes.
After the strikes, but nothing clear, really, no real evidence, but this is the claim that they're going with. And it's a strange.
What would he need? Like, what would be enough to convince him?
Oh, I don't know that. Right? It probably doesn't exist. Yeah.
Claim, because they're not saying that they're just storing weapons in these houses.
He's like, this is outside. This is outrageous. They're saying they're storing rockets. Like,
they're not saying that rockets are being fired from them, like, using rocket launchers, like shoulder fired rockets or something. They're saying that there's missile launchers actually in the homes, and that they could actually launch missiles from the houses, which, I mean, how can you launch a big missile from inside a house. It doesn't make any sense.
You take it outside the house.
Oh, what? Wait, how? Wait, hold on. How?
You carry it outside the house? Maybe
No, you know
onto
what's
the
crazy
roof,
about that
perhaps?
is if you watch the animation that he's talking about, it's on wheels. Like,
you roll it out of the house. There you
yes,
go.
like, and you don't until you need to.
Right.
So it's like, well, they haven't been firing these. It's like, yeah, right. Like with the whole time that this war has been going on with Gaza, with Palestine, right?
Mhm.
We've been talking about, shady rockets being launched from Lebanon into northern Israel.
Yeah.
But there's always, like, if you pay attention to the news like me and you do, there's always been stories about how, they like this is nothing. The ones that they're using aren't really much, and they're almost strategically firing into either uninhabited parts of Israel or parts of Israel where even Israel doesn't care about the people there, other than, like, on paper. Yeah, there are people.
Right.
I guess if you kill anyone, like that kid in the soccer field, we'll have to make a big stink out of it. But yeah, we don't really, like, they're not.
Well, it's largely it's not like the last thing they want is full on war with Israel. That's not their intent. What they want is to be the mosquito, that's annoying, because they, that's their protest about what's happening in Gaza, essentially. And so that's why they're doing that. They have, there's, if they start attacking civilians at large and Israel has to respond at large scale, that's not good for them.
Well, let's take it to today. So some of Hezbollah's responses to this were firing a bunch of rockets into Israel, some of them landing in the West Bank.
Jesus.
So they're landing in the Palestinian territory.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Actually, I heard somebody say this on a podcast today. Is like, when you fire a bunch of rockets and missiles, sometimes they don't go where you want them to, and so shit happens, which is kind of true. Especially
why does Hezbollah get that excuse but Israel doesn't?
No, I agree. But so what I'm saying is, so I was talking more about the soccer field incident where, that wasn't necessarily their intent, but it happened, and it sucks. But that's what happens when you have this sort of situation.
Yeah, but they're standing with Hamas, so good for them. I guess they really showed Israel, right? Like, I mean, I'm not this callous, and I would not summarize it into a 4-letter acronym, but they fucked around and they found out. Like, and I am still an anti-war person. When I see it conducted in this manner, not in Gaza, this is the way that you would hope to see war conducted. You see all those lines of people fleeing southern Lebanon up towards Beirut and northern Lebanon. That's great. Good for you. I wish that you didn't have to flee. I wish your government wasn't ran by a terrorist organization. Like, I deeply am sympathetic for those people.
Do you know why they were fleeing? Because Israel said, "Hey, we're going to bomb the shit out."
That was the other part of my
yeah, we're going to bomb the shit out of this place, so maybe you guys should leave.
Right.
They actually came out and said it on television. My criticism, I said it on the hidden track, is if Israel's able to do this fairly surgically, taking out these Hezbollah members, why can't they do that in the Gaza Strip? Why
the answer has to be just how, because it was the thing everybody said before that everything in Gaza started, is how densely populated it is.
And they have the tunnels and they've dug in. There's all of that. I understand that.
Do you think Hezbollah doesn't have tunnels?
Sure they do. Probably not as extensive as, they don't need them as extensively as they do in the Gaza Strip.
But keeping the rest of their rockets.
But we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of civilian deaths as collateral damage in Israel's attack on the Gaza Strip. And I really think it's
they took the opportunity to get rid of a problem.
And because the political climate in Israel right now allows them to do that with impunity.
They're in a post 9/11 moment.
They are, and they have, and the settler movement is basically in charge of the government at this point.
It is. It's bigger than that. Yeah, the long term. The short version is it's a 9/11 moment for them, but it's way bigger than that, right? Well, but in the same way, the momentum with 9/11 and the post 9/11 reaction was the evangelicals and everybody that was behind the neocons and everything.
Yeah, absolutely
was fully on board for
it. Bush captured. Yeah,
timed perfectly for that, right?
Yeah.
That was a good point. I actually am fine talking about this more on our headline show because there's going to be more news about this, but I didn't go without talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Sudan, something that does not get talked about enough. So there is a congresswoman, I believe, Sarah Jacobs. So I put together a mashup of 2 clips. I don't normally do this way. So this is Sarah Jacobs asking someone about we've been backing the UAE, and the UAE largely is supplying the weapons to the RSF. While I get this loaded, can you talk about who the RSF is?
So the Rapid Support Forces were the Praetorian Guard for the former president of Sudan, and essentially they led a coup along with the Sudan forces, the SAF, got him thrown out of power, and they were supposed to have a power sharing agreement between the two. Of course, that didn't work out, so they've been basically at war ever since. It's civil war. The RSF are primarily made up of people who essentially committed genocide in Sudan like 10, 15 years ago, and now we're seeing a lot of similar stuff happen, a lot of war crimes. It's pretty bad. And yeah, to your point, it definitely doesn't get enough headlines.
So rather than this being buried at the end of our headline show, which I don't say that talking shit, I say thank God you're still talking about it because nobody else does.
Yeah.
I wanted this to be in our How About That segment on the first half of the show. So it was pointed out. So the reason I've mashed up 2 clips is this Sarah Jacobs woman was interviewing. I don't see who she was talking to. I'm sorry for that. So she's sort of from the podium side of a congressional hearing asking this question. And then I spliced it in. I don't only talk shit about Dave DeCamp and Anti-War Radio. I'm going to bring in an anti-war clip that answers her question.
Okay.
Specifically, the UAE is the RSF's largest arms backer. They are literally providing the way the RSF is able to commit what many.
So the UAE, United Arab Emirates, just in case anything's being lost at the front of this clip, they're providing the arms. They're providing the weapons to the.
They're enabling them essentially, and
actually described as committing genocide and everything.
And recently they seem to be getting the upper hand in this war.
Yeah.
Specifically, the UAE is the RSF's largest arms backer. They are literally providing the way the RSF is able to commit what many experts determine as genocide. And we have a significant relationship with the UAE. In fact, we are their biggest provider of weapons. So given this, what are you and
the UAE gives weapons to the RSF. We, on the international stage, are in support of the non-RSF side of the Sudan battle, but we're kind of keeping ourselves out of this as far as we know, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd be surprised if there's some Pentagon papers on this, but right?
Yes.
Okay. Am I interrupting too much? Like,
no,
am I setting this up fine? Okay. So the UAE is giving them weapons, and we are the largest weapons provider to the UAE.
Yep.
Even though they're supporting the people we fucking hate.
Right. Well, ostensibly.
So given this, what are you and the department doing at the highest levels to push the UAE, specifically to utilize all of our leverage with the UAE to get them to stop arming RSF and stop enabling these war crimes and crimes against humanity?
Really dangerous stuff. All right, the next one here, the U.S. names the UAE a major defense partner. So this article is from Middle East Eye. The U.S.
Apparently, there's a lot of people with that kind of designation.
Named the UAE a major defense partner on Monday, a step that can make it eligible to purchase more sophisticated U.S. weapons and technology as tensions in the Middle East soar. The announcement came after President Joe Biden met with United Arab Emirates President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan at the White House. The UAE is the only other state besides India to achieve the designation.
The fuck?
They're one of two. Jesus Christ. I mean,
we're playing both sides, Alan.
What could possibly go wrong? I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, everybody. Don't worry.
What kind of okay, so let's play this out with like some so international diplomacy by nature is always messy, right? Like,
yeah,
it is. People that see the world very black and white come across very stupid when they talk about international diplomacy, especially when they just tuned into it.
Yeah.
So I am not one of those people. So I will be quick to say that by nature, international diplomacy is full of contradictions.
It's messy.
It's an oxymoronic like expression, right?
Yes.
So is the idea here that if we can bring them into the fold, we can have better influence on them about how they use this? Because it sounds like we're giving them more advanced weapons as we're asking them to stop giving weapons to one side of this. I mean, this is the world's no, like all eyes of the world are on Gaza and now Lebanon, but I haven't lived in Tennessee long enough. We say Lebanon out here, Lebanon. But the greatest impact in conflict right now of displaced people is happening in Sudan, and nobody fucking cares. And like, I'm saying two things at once. Like that bothers me, but also like, what on earth are we thinking? What on earth are we thinking? Makes sense.
We're thinking that the UAE is seen as probably one of the more stabilizing forces in the region
because we don't like Saudi Arabia, even though we do.
They're the financial hub.
I forget, is Saudi Arabia and UAE, they don't like each other? I get them and Qatar confused. Are they on the same side? It's okay if you're wrong here.
I'm not sure about that either.
I get confused with those regional ones over there. And
I mean, Qatar's just out. They just have a shit ton of money and they're just kind of out to, have FIFA tournaments. So yeah, I mean,
that's easy to build stadiums.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think it's just to like look the other direction. Like, they're diplomatically they're a partner. Now they're getting extra weapon status. And so yeah, we're going to continue the relationship because we think it's good for us. And, never mind that they're, supporting this faction that we ostensibly are against.
So like I said, I mean, like by nature, international diplomacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like it.
I don't either.
It is the way the world works, right? Like you're going to have a conflict of interests.
Yeah. I mean,
and you can't, and like, ideally you'd be like, fine, I'll just go hang out over here. But if you do that, then the world comes to you, right?
Exactly.
It's messy. I wish we had good leaders we can count on for things like this. I feel like there was a time where we did.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like there was a time where we did and we didn't like them, but it's not so incompetent as we are right now.
Well, I think part of the reason that we thought it was good and competent was because maybe we didn't have as much access to what was actually happening.
Yeah, that's true. Because every time I say that, every example I'm thinking of while I say that, I was like, well, according to the books I've read since then.
Right. Yeah, maybe not so much. So maybe it's a little bit more in the open now. So we're like, fuck, this really sucks.
Yeah.
And before it was more in back rooms that we didn't have access to.
Well, then I blame the intelligence agency. Leave it at that. Can we talk about
bliss, huh?
What?
Ignorance is bliss, huh?
Ignorance is bliss, yeah. Joey Pantoliano taught us that in The Matrix.
Indeed.
By the way, least favorite like seasonal character that came into The Sopranos. Natasha told me like 2 episodes into him showing up in The Sopranos, she's like, I don't like this guy. I feel like he's gonna die. I'm like, I'm gonna shut up. I was like, I don't want to tell her this, but like there's this whole theme in The Sopranos where there's like once it became a big show, they brought in famous actors that were like, hey, they'll be in for a season or 2. We'll find out. Like, I don't want to ruin it when other famous actors show up in the later years, but you're like, that's just a big. I guess she listens to this.
I was going to say, should you have said spoiler alert? For her?
There's it's pretty obvious the trajectory with him. But like anytime that a new actor shows up on that show, that's like, hey, I'm your cousin. You forgot about me. We've never talked for 5 seasons, but here we are. You came out of the pen or something, right?
Yeah, it's like the person on the Star Trek episode that has like the wrong color uniform.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, dude, we're gonna end the show. The second to last clip is a Star Trek clip.
Oh, nice.
You ever seen Abe Lincoln on Star Trek?
No.
He says a word that he says a word. It's of his era, Alan.
I must have seen it. I've seen all of them, I think.
He says a word that I've only seen written down on 4chan.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Interest peaked.
Yeah, stick around for the rest of the show. All right, can we do some domestic politics?
Let's.
You remember you turned into a Say let's more appropriately.
Let's.
I don't want you to sound like that. Nobody wants to hear you like that. Big Mike. Remember last week when we had Congressman Nice Guy on and he was just predicting the future about like I don't remember where this fell in his prediction, but Big Mike just is doing exactly what you would expect. I pressed the button, Alan. There it is.
Dollars flowing.
For the most part, the spending deal keeps the government funded at its current levels, with one notable exception.
Remember they were playing chicken with the budget funding?
The bill would give the Secret Service an additional $231 million.
Hey, that's my prediction. Do you remember when I said that? I was like, my one prediction about all these assassination attempts is that the Secret Service is going to see a huge budget. They're going to fire 1 or 2 people, and they're going to do they're going to pass red flag laws. Back up because I'm proud of myself.
An additional $231 million.
Seems like
the agency has been short-staffed for years and has been under intense scrutiny after Donald Trump was shot in July and after an apparent assassination attempt on Trump was foiled earlier this month.
So Big Mike dropped Big Mike is Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
Big Mike dropped he compromised with Democrats and dropped the voter ID requirement.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah.
Oh, we did. We talked about them dropping it.
No, we talked about that was a thing they were adding to the bill.
Have you been watching? Do you see on these football games? They have these, Eli Lilly, all these drug companies always have commercials. And they had a commercial recently where they didn't say till the end that it was Eli Lilly. And they're like, are you having these like memory episodes where like, you're like, that's just age. It's just age. You're starting to get older and it's just age. Brought to you by Eli Lilly. I was like, I'm not falling for you, drug manufacturer.
Right.
Yeah. Usually has to do with other compounding factors, though.
Yeah. So they avoided the train. Oh yes, that factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I distracted myself. I Eli Lilly'd myself, Alan.
Can I just tell you a funny thing? So
please tell me a very funny thing.
They talked about the would-be assassin at Mar-a-Lago. So guess what courtroom he's going to be arraigned in and tried it?
Somewhere in Florida with a Haitian prosecutor.
Eileen Cannon.
Shut up.
You can't make this shit up, man. This simulation's
fucked
up.
When we watch her actually be judicial and like throw the book at someone and move quickly, it's going to be hilarious.
Yes.
No way.
Yep.
You've processed this thought. Please, this is new for me. Keep talking.
So yeah, it just dropped today. So Cannon, for people that don't remember, she is the one with the classified documents case who threw it out because she said the AG was improperly appointed. She's had all kinds of rulings that have been struck down by the appeal circuit.
Who appointed her, Alan?
She was appointed by Trump. A lot of her legal rulings have been widely panned by legal experts from both sides of the aisle. It really, specifically that trial with Trump, it just really seems like obviously that she's on the side of Trump's partisan. Yeah. So yeah, it's very very bizarre that she got that case. But
people were like, Ron DeSantis says they're not going to turn him over to federal custody. They're going to keep him there. So this one's not going to get like ruined by the feds. It's like, do you not remember Ron DeSantis being bullied by Trump for like a year and a half? Like, I remember this. Like,
I remember. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I stand by. The guy did nothing wrong. He filed off a serial number. He was walking around with a loaded gun. It's Florida. Go fuck yourself. You can't do that. I thought this was America.
That was free Florida, man.
Yeah, the free state of Florida, where we will tell you cannot wear a mask. All right. Here's Big Mike. People reacting to his compromise with the Democrats. I don't know what you hear, but I hear, oh no, don't tell daddy that. That's not what I said. No.
Saw a headline. I'm defying Trump. I'm not defying President Trump. I've spoken with him at great length, and he is very frustrated about the situation. His great concern is election security, and it is mine as well. It is all of ours. We are really seriously concerned about this, and we got to do everything.
Please make sure you tell him that I am not defying him.
that we can to ensure it. Congress, we passed the SAVE Act in the summer, and it's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk collecting dust. That is maddening to us.
Go fuck yourself. No bills get passed independently. Don't isolate this one, right? Like name a bill that gets passed. Nothing gets passed. They wait until the end of year until they have to do their omnibus bill, and then they go, well, here's all the things from the prior year. If you want to get funding, you're going to have to put all these bills in. You're supposed to do these monthly. They don't do these. So hold on. You're supposed to vote on bills when they come up. They bring them up for a floor vote, and then you pass laws. That's literally Schoolhouse Rock. We learned that when we were kids, old people like me and Alan. To you youngsters, what's happened for the last 20 years is once a month, they pass one bill that's the spending bill. And because they have to do the spending bill, in the old world, they had to do the spending bill. They would cram a bunch of shit in there that would have been a floor vote, but nobody wants to put their name on a floor vote because they have to run for re-election. They don't want to be on the record saying no to one independent question, right? So they cram those questions into spending bills, and then nobody looks into those, right? That's how they got by for years and years and years. Every month they at least did that, and that's what bloated our budget and made, because this is just the budget. This isn't the spending. This is just, can we spend this? And then what happened is they didn't do all 12 of those. And at the end of the year, they try to do a 1-year one. And what do you think happens when you kick everything down the road? That 1 year is worse than each of those 12 months ever would have been in the past. Or if they would have just done one thing at a time. So don't act like, oh, they didn't pass this one bill that we passed. What? Nobody fucking does that. And you fucking know it. It's all virtue signaling. And you put shit in there that's a poison pill that nobody on one side's going to ever vote for, so that you can get them on record saying something, probably about Haitians in Springfield or something like that. Am I wrong?
Not at all. And just to clarify something you sort of hinted at there is that
I hinted? I don't think anything in that was hint.
No. So
you know me, very subtle.
So spending bill, right? So we're essentially saying, yes, we're going to pay the bills that we already signed legislation into law for that we were going to spend. That's all it is. They already passed legislation previously that said we're going to spend this money doing this thing. And now we're just signing the check. That's what we're doing.
And my favorite part is when they start to lap each other. Yes. They're like, we're passing spending, but we haven't passed, we're passing new budgets.
That cost money,
we haven't got the spending from the last one. Yeah. Fucking coward.
He understands fully, President Trump understands the current dilemma and the situation that we're in. And so there's no daylight between us. And I keep him apprised all the time of everything that's happening, because he is our nominee for president and he's going to be the next president. So we'll continue working closely together. I'm not defying President Trump. We're getting our...
Don't tell Daddy. No, I didn't say that.
He said that like 2 or 3 times in that
statement.
I know.
What a fucking weasel.
Just to be clear, I'm not defying Daddy.
It's all it sounded like.
I kiss the ring daily. Don't worry.
So here is a brief rundown outside of my rant aside. This is a good rundown from Reason Magazine, much more calmly spoken than what I just did. Just whenever this, once this throbber settles down and we actually get this. Oh, there it is. And now I reloaded it. Okay, ready?
Ready.
Is very predictable, actually, just like the tides and the moon and the calendar changing. It happens every year. And for the last 25 plus years, the Congress has not gotten it together to pass all 12 appropriations bills in order to, which is the sort of the discretionary funding for the government by that fiscal year. So a lot of what has happened is that instead of passing a 12 appropriations bills as called for by the 1974 Congressional Budget and Impoundment Act, like what they've done instead is they have passed either a CR, which is a continuing resolution, which is basically we're going to continue funding at current levels for some temporary period of.
Remember when Mike Johnson was like, it's not a continuing resolution, it's a laddered resolution.
Yes, I do.
Time, or an omnibus, which is we're just going to roll all these things together into one period of time, or an omnibus, which is we're just going to roll all these things together into one big mega bill, or in some cases, my favorite, we get a cromnibus, which is a CR combined with an omnibus. And frequently this happens at the end of the calendar year, so around Christmas time or New Year's, because even though the fiscal year actually ends at the end of September, they almost always punt this down the road until the end of the calendar year. And that's what it looks like is going to happen in the next week or so, is if they don't pass something, the government will have one of those shutdowns. And I'm putting that in air quotes because in fact, most things won't shut down, but the government's not going to shut down because they're going to pass what looks like about a 3-month continuing resolution, keep the government open basically right until Christmas, at which point they will have the annual do your job, have a budget week like they have every year. It's amazing. It's just amazing. They can't do this despite the fact that we know it's coming every year, and despite the fact that the Republicans in the House ousted the last speaker over his failure to get this done and promised that this time would be different. It's not different. We're going to do a CR again.
Brilliant. It should so well fucking put, right?
That's very well put. Yeah, it should almost be a holiday at this point. Like, just add it to the.
You can count on it.
Yeah, and also they do it during that time of the year because less people are paying attention. So there's that too.
Oh, and then they're always like, "Well, we got to go home and see our do your fucking job." That's why he called it that. It's just fucking worked up. Can we talk about some election year stuff?
Sure.
Can we start it with Mark Robinson?
Hell yeah.
Okay, good. I got exclusive audio of a new ad from Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson's got a new ad that came out.
Cool. We have an inside man on the campaign, I guess.
Some of you guys that grew up watching Adult Swim might recognize this ad campaign. That
I wake up at 4:45 in the a.m. every morning. That's about 12 hours before most niggas wake up. I am a very spiritual person. I start each day by thanking the white man for the sunrise, for the land I walk on, for the air I breathe. I also apologize for niggas, but Lord knows they ain't gonna apologize for themselves. I am not black, nor do I consider myself to be black. Many people...
If it wasn't him and everything that he said, I would not feel so comfortable playing this. My skin is crawling right now.
Same.
Mistake me for being Negro because they don't know that I am currently living with the heartbreak of revitiligo. That's a skin condition that's the opposite of what Michael Jackson's got.
Revital. That's reverse Michael Jackson disease.
Oh my God.
I'm crying. I actually have wet eyes. Revitiligo. Oh my God.
Opposite of what Michael Jackson's got. Every morning I apply this topical ointment made of bleach and sulfur. I like to think it works. Luckily, I hadn't gotten much darker in the last few years.
Oh my God. I knew that was fucking spicy, but I was just like, I need to get a good Uncle Ruckus clip to say that's Mark Robinson. Like anybody who grew up watching the Boondocks, boom, bump, bump, ba-dum, bump, bump, ba-dum. Like when that show aired in the 2000s, you're like, I don't know how they're getting away with this shit. Like it was so fucking good.
It was based on a comic strip, right? I think.
Yes, yeah, and I feel like the guy had a background in like DC politics too. I've looked it up before, and I always get it. Yeah, I can't find the bottom of it, but it's actually upset me to watch because I'm in a few spicy group chats, and to see people on the right be like Uncle Ruckus. So look at Uncle Ruckus. I'm like, damn it, God damn it.
Compliment.
Yeah, it's like the way people like have misunderstood the message of American Psycho.
Oh yes,
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, the man sounds exactly. He's Uncle Ruckus in real life. Like
kind of is.
He kind of is. He says he's a black Nazi. He talks about being a peeping Tom in women's restrooms or locker rooms. I believe
but he was only able to do it like once because he went back and they had fixed the thing that would allow him to do it. That's what he said.
Oh my God. I love that you found extra details on this. For some reason, Ashley Madison was back in the news last week. I'm pretty sure it's related to him. I think he had an Ashley Madison account.
Right.
By the way, my favorite detail that everybody forgets about Ashley Madison was there was like, I don't know, like 1 million men on there, and like I can't get this word out of my 2,400 women.
Yeah,
there was 2,400 women on the site.
There were so many sites that came out after that site that were essentially just bots. The women were all bots, and there was just thousands and thousands of guys that would pay money.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it.
Just keep paying so that the
Yeah.
bots would talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This one's I'm not tricking you this time. It's not
It's not their campaign ad. Okay.
yeah. This is I can
Seska.
only skim this from the Bob Seska show because he hasn't put it on his actual YouTube page yet. But I'm a big fan of Rocky Mountain Mike's parody songs, and you're going to hear a little bit of Buzz and Bob laughing in the background. This is like one verse of a song doing a little parody song about Rocky Mountain, or about Mr. Robinson.
Mr.
It's not the Lemonheads version.
Rocky Mountain Mike.
And here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Jesus knows what you do with your phone and your bone. Trump is not pleased, Mr. Robinson. Ketchup on his walls will start to spray. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Or Paul Simon. What's Garfunkel's real first name? Neil? No. What's Garfunkel's first name? Paul Garfunkel?
Oh, that's not right.
Paul
shit,
Simon and Paul. Do you remember the mom in Almost Famous where she holds up the record? She goes uncut and she points at their noses.
Yes, I do.
I always think of Simon and Garfunkel with that. Almost Famous, good movie. I only watched it once because I was like, this is good. I don't want to see it again. I don't want it to be ruined.
Yeah, that's a one-time watch for me as well. Yeah.
So yeah, do you think Trump feels good that he backed this guy and called him the next he called him Martin Luther King on steroids?
On steroids.
It's funny he called him Martin Luther King on steroids. Do you want to say what Mark Robinson said about Martin Luther King?
He's not a fan. He's not.
Oh, come on, Alan. One of us is gonna say it. I don't care if it's me or you.
I'm trying to remember the exact quote.
I'll tell you, it's a bad pun.
Okay.
Do you want me to say it?
Say it, because I really don't.
Called him
remember.
Martin Luther Coon.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Ah, yes. The French.
Yes, the French.
By the way, just to go back to that peeping Tom thing.
Yeah.
So after he says when he went back and it was,
where was it? Like a YMCA?
yeah, some sort of like a gym or something like that.
Locker room talk, Alan.
Yeah. So after he says that in the post, he says, "All the memories." ...
Wait, was this his post on a porn website?
Yes. Yeah. On Nude Africa. Yeah. So apparently a bunch of prominent Republicans who had posts that were allied with him are like deleting all that stuff and trying to erase the fact that they
He's
had
lost all but 3 staffers.
Yeah,
he only has 3
all
staffers.
resigned.
Like people are jumping off the Titanic with him.
Yeah.
Like,
but he's refusing to acquiesce. So it's
dude, he said blacks have lived up to their welts.
Jesus.
Let that sink in. He
Yeah.
said he misses the days under Jim Crow where blacks lived up to their welts. That doesn't take explaining, right?
No, I don't think it does.
Lives up to their welts.
I
Hey,
mean,
what was the
we
guy
all-
write down earlier? Oh, reverse vitiligo.
I mean, he
Revitiligo?
also, we've already said this on the show, but he also said that, he wished slavery was still here. He'd like to own a few. Just
Just a despicable person, right?
it's mind blowing. Like how?
But it's so predictable. This man made himself famous by going down to city council meetings and just having hot takes on a mic, right? Like
Yes.
he's been saying shit just like this in front of a microphone. The fact that we've heard what he says off mic isn't surprising. And you know what? Republicans don't fucking care, right? They like that they don't care that he doesn't have any policies or a platform. They like him because he's a lunatic and he screams and he has a lot of followers on Twitter and YouTube. That's what they like about him.
Some folks need to be killed. That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah. That was in a microphone that was being recorded on video, and he knew that.
And they supported him anyways.
Yes.
I don't think they care about this. Like, he's going after the evangelical vote, though.
Mhm.
And that's why he's saying things like there's a... Wait, I skipped a whole clip. Can I play this clip? This is Nick Gillespie from the Reason Roundtable.
Okay.
All right. I was like, hold on. I was about to reference something we played in a clip, and I haven't played it. Let me pick up this kitty cat.
Which is, from a conservative point of view, you would think they don't want the government getting into people's bathrooms, unless that's a subreddit of Naked Africa or whatever. I don't know. But he, at various points on a Facebook post under his own name, he called the Holocaust hogwash, and he identified Jewish bankers, Muslims, China, and the CIA as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Jesus. So is this the guy that you want as governor? He said last fall, there is no separation of church and state. He's also an election denier. He doesn't have policies beyond kind of culture war inflammation points. So I do think, I think he sounds like a terrible candidate. North Carolina has not elected a Republican to governor since 1993. So there's nothing new there. He's trailing bad.
So like I said, if he had policies or platforms that like they cared about, he hasn't presented them, right? He just says culture war shit and screams.
I was just going to say culture warrior. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if he's going after the evangelical vote, you would think having an Ashley Madison page, that sounds like a sin, right? Adultery.
Yeah, but let's be honest.
Right?
Let's be honest. That movement has been completely taken over by MAGA, anyways. I mean, because
but before that, it was taken over by George Bush. So, like,
yeah, but at least you could say that he wasn't amoral. Well, if you don't count the wars. But I mean, Trump is just
what I did with my face.
But Trump is just so obviously against the opposite of everything they espouse, and still they back him. That always blows my mind. I've said that a million times. I'm sorry, but it's
okay. It's one of those things that you would think over time there'd be some reason where you could understand it, and it just never comes up because it's not. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it's very normal to be like perplexed by this.
I don't understand this.
Yeah, can't get it. So let's transition a little bit more into some of the Trumpian stuff. Sorry, kitty cat was sneezing. I was concerned. You okay, buddy?
I'm so glad you talked Natasha into getting that cat. She was so against it,
He's interrupting the show, so I'm liking him less presently. But so we on the hidden track we played a clip from the New York Radio Hour where they were interviewing Tim Snyder, the author of On Tyranny, has a new book called On Freedom. Mm-hmm. And this was sort of, they asked, the interviewer asked him, like, what kind of foreign policy would you expect from Trump in a second administration?
It leads to complete political dysfunctionality. That's kind of a dark set of associations for me. Trump is an extreme example of the view that might makes right, and Russia is strong because Putin is strong, because Putin's the dictator, which is a certain view of strength. It leads you to the conclusion, which Trump seems to have drawn, that in some sense, Russia is stronger than America because it's governed by a tyrant, and America is not. And that means that a Trumpian foreign policy is, and he showed this the last time around, is always going to be submissive in a certain way because he's going to think that we're weaker and that he's number two compared to whoever the actual dictator is. That's what it portends generally. I mean, with respect to Ukraine, I think it's disastrous because you have to believe that you're going to win. And this is something the Biden administration has had trouble with. If you want to get out of a war with some kind of dignity, you have to try to win it. If you're not trying to win it, it's not going to go. It's not going to go. It's going to be longer than you think. Like the Putin people, and they're very open about this, have been waiting for Trump. They needed Biden to go slow enough that Trump could save them.
How would you fault the Biden administration?
I meant to clip that a little bit shorter. So you're telling me he's a sub, Alan? That's what I'm hearing.
It does sound that way. That's so succinctly and well put. I mean, that is exactly. I mean, if you just look at his track record of the people that he admires on the world stage, it's always authoritarians. And when he says he wants to be dictator for a day, just the first day, I don't know, he might get used to it and like it.
I mean, they wrote it in the Constitution. It's okay if you're a dictator just for one day, right? Like,
yeah, I remember that line.
So let's get into. I think I had more to say from that, but the clip went on longer and my brain slipped away. I don't know what happened. World's greatest girlfriend mug got to me, Alan.
These things happen.
Yeah. Jim Beam. The devil's lettuce. No, that's not right. Hold on. What?
That's very not right.
Okay. So I've got a clip from Bill Maher from this last week that's been making the rounds. Have you watched this?
No, I don't watch Bill Maher.
So you don't take the Bill Maher episodes, and the clips don't make it into your diet?
Not
So
typically.
This is Stephanie Rule from MSNBC. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, she's
She related to the head coach of Nebraska, Rule. It's his last name.
not that I'm aware of. So she took over for Brian, the guy that used to
Brian
she does,
Posehn.
she does the midnight hour on MSNBC. So it's
Night, huh?
the last show of the day. She was formerly a financial reporter, so she's very insightful on financial stuff. But she's also, an NBC anchor.
I mean,
so
she's really good in this clip.
She's very good.
So she's taking on New York Times columnist Brett Stevens. Do you have any background on Brett Stevens other than he's kind of cunty? I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't have. I'm aware he's kind of cunty, but not much more than that.
So his take, as he's about to present, is, well, what do I know about Kamala? It's like, what the fuck do you need to know? Like, okay.
I'm an undecided voter. I'm never going to vote for Trump, but I'm not sure I want to vote for Kamala. And my fear is that she doesn't really have a very good command of what she wants to do as president. It would be great for her to sit down with you or George Stephanopoulos or you, Stephanie.
He's pissed off because they didn't sit down with the New York Times.
Oh, jeez.
No, come on. Like, she's done a couple of interviews. I agree there hasn't been enough, but she did one with NBC or CNN. She did one with fucking Oprah. We'll talk about that at the end of the show, where she made a joke about, I'm a gun owner. Oh shit, are we talking to someone who? Did you see that?
I did see that.
Where she's in the room with like a shooting survivor, and she's like, I own guns. Come into my house. I'll fucking go. Oh,
yes.
Ha 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 ha. School bus. So how did I get here, Alan?
Kamala doing more interviews. He's
Yeah,
mad
and
because-
he's upset that they haven't done one with the New York Times. That's what he sounds like.
And get a succession
As
of...
if she'd sit down with me.
Why not? George W. Bush, 25 years ago, was asked if he could name the president of Pakistan and other people. He had no idea. And people said, this guy has no command of foreign policy. And it turned out to be a prescient set of questions. It's not too much to ask Kamala, say, are you for a Palestinian state if Hamas is going to run that state?
I would like to follow that up with something. And I know I wouldn't get to interrupt him in this manner on the show, but same question for Trump. Or how about this? Because Trump was asked, does he want Ukraine to win the war with Russia? Right. And he said, I will solve it on day one. No. Do you want Ukraine to win the war? Do you want Ukraine to be, how about this? Are you okay with Ukraine existing, but a Russian proxy is in charge like they had prior to, which is what led to the 2014 invasion, right?
Yes.
Right?
Maidan Revolution, yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, like, let's just entertain the world where Trump gets asked that question. Oh, right. That would never fucking happen because you treat Trump like he's some R word that can talk, right? But then you look at Kamala and you're like, well, you have a grasp of language, and all your stupid fucking sounds that you make. But since I can see you put thoughts together, I expect more from you. Therefore, why I have this question for you. Oh, well, they don't ask her that. It's like, is that really the bar? Like, you drop the bar for him, you raise it for her because she's a competent person. I'm not giving her praise. I said competent.
Not only that, but so I'll say it. So why do you think Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris? Is it because he loves her foreign policy strategy? Because he loves her tax strategy? No. He did it because he believes Trump to be an existential threat to this democracy. That's why.
Even
that fucking guy. This is not about obviously policy matters, but that's not the
Mr.
choice.
Unitary Executive is like, not like that though.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Yes or no?
And let's say you don't like her answer. Are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not.
Kamala
I just said I'm not going to vote
Harris
for
is
her.
not running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have two choices. And so there are some things.
Like that I talked over. She made the perfect versus good example,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
I'm not going to call her good.
Things you might not know her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
I don't know
So it's
her-
unclear to me how there could be an informed.
The problem that a lot of people have with Kamala is we don't know her answer to anything, okay?
And I find this very annoying because we do know her answer to maybe not enough things, but you don't not know her answer to anything. You're a fucking news reporter for a prestigious agency. You have a powerful internet tool called Google where you can go to her stupid webpage where she has her bullshit platforms written out. They suck, but they exist. Like to say those words on a national television show, on a cable news show or entertainment show it's pathetic. Like this is breaking news. None Taken has figured out that, national reporters are skewed and biased and maybe not as intelligent as you'd hope for. But that statement is verifiably false. You can not like her. You could say her stances are vague. You know what she's doing? She's doing strategic ambiguity. She's staying on message. She's making sure she doesn't say things at this point, which I don't like because I think there's things that she could say that you won't like, but it is a good strategy. She's not saying shit. It's on paper. It's not enough, but it's not nothing. Don't act like it's literally nothing. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. And again, I just go back to the point which she kind of made there, which is that she's running against Trump. She's not running against to be perfect. And so, I just go back to my Cheney example. It's the same thing. By the way, I don't know if you heard this, or I don't think I saw it in the sheet. There's some new polling about Project 2025. Guess what the favorability percentage is?
I heard Buzz say this, and I chalked it up to progressive bullshit. So I had heard him saying that we progressives have been talking about James. Don't isolate that. Buzz has been saying we progressives have been talking about 2025, and I didn't think it would bleed over to the normies, but apparently the normies are not a fan of it.
4% favorable, which is that's the lowest number I've maybe ever seen in a poll.
Well, that's lower than JD Vance's approval.
Right.
JD Vance is 28% favorability, or maybe 29 favorability rate. 45% unfavorable. I remember that.
Yeah. 4% favorable.
Wow.
57% unfavorable.
It's not a likable plan. People that sell it are they always make these plans. It's okay, this one sucks though, and that guy wants to be a tyrant. He said so. I'm not going to be hyperbolic and all of these crazy thoughts, but the potential's there, and this plan sucks.
It sucks. Yes.
You know
And I
his
think
answer to everything.
And that's why I would never vote for him, and people shouldn't vote for him. But people also are expected to have some idea of what the program is of the person you're supposed to vote for. You're just not supposed to say, well, you have to vote for Y because X is this, that, and the other. Let's find out a little bit more. And I don't think it's a lot to ask her to sit down for
He is smiling like you. Keep digging. I already won.
a real interview as opposed to a puff piece in which she describes her feelings of growing up in Oakland with nice lawns.
Then I would just say to that, when you move to Nirvana, give me your real estate broker's number and I'll be your next door neighbor. We don't live there.
I would love to live in this world. I don't fucking like these dog shit options that we have. I do not look forward to voting for her. I'm going to do it as protest because I live in Tennessee and we're going to vote for Trump as a state. And I can't wait to say, bitch, I voted for you. Fuck you. I want you out of office. I can't wait for the impeachments. I can't wait. But in a choice between her and Trump, I'm not voting for Trump.
Do you think he's taking that line because of the polling that the New York Times did, saying that prior to the debate, a lot of Americans felt they didn't know enough about Kamala Harris, and that's why he's trying to defend that point?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Last time I checked, one of these people has been impeached twice.
Yeah.
One of these people lost to a man who can't finish his sentences. One of these people isn't allowed to run his own business because he's a convicted fraudster. Not to mention the time that I told you about before the show where he defrauded a fucking children's charity.
One of these candidates has been convicted, a felon, 34 counts.
You want to get real extreme?
By a jury of his
Depending on
peers.
how you read the judgment, one of these people is a rapist.
Yeah.
But let's hear what her thoughts are about, some foreign conflicts and some international diplomacy.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up a clip. This is a bridge to the next topic. So we got one more big topic before we end the half. This is, I jinxed this show. Here's Big Mike saying that he would totally certify the election.
Do you commit to observing regular order in the certification process of the 2024 election, even if Kamala Harris beats Donald Trump?
Well, of course, if we have a free, fair, and safe election, we're going to follow the Constitution. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
There's a big if there, right?
Yeah, that's the if is the problem in that sentence, because as we've seen the way that they've attacked, election boards throughout the country and in states that are going to be important in this election, it's going to be really easy to point and say, oh, there's something off here. Maybe we shouldn't certify it.
Well, let's talk about that. So we have talked about this. I get people that send me messages all the time that I'm like, man, I swear to God, we fucking covered this. So apparently some things bear repeating. So I think a lot of our listeners may feel like they already know this, but I feel like this clip really puts a lot of these concerns all into one place. Also, it brings up one of my favorite things. She mentions the 1824 election, which I'm always saying, like, look, if you want to be prepared for the 2024 election, bone up on your John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson and I always want to say Henry Clay 1824 election and the compromise, the
horse trading that was done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a lot of my favorite things come up in this clip. So here it is, all in one nutshell: the concern about the way Republicans are staging themselves to challenge this election. God, I smell Natasha's been making soup. It smells so good.
Meryl Streep asked VP Kamala Harris the elephant in the room question.
She calls her Marilyn Streep, by the way. I have a clip for that. She calls her Marilyn.
The other day, she said, I think you're going to win in November. But what happens if he meaning DJT, and the officials...
I hate these people that won't say Donald Trump. They're like, I guess it's Beetlejuice. You can't say it 3 times.
refuse to accept and certify the results. And honestly, more people should be talking about this. And I know at first this seems like a wonky out there question, but it really isn't. Our system is very complex. And as you know, it's not just the majority who decides who wins, but there's a lot of moving parts to selecting a president. I went to Yale Law School where I focused in constitutional law, specifically the Electoral College. And DJT has hired a team of very smart and tricky lawyers and understand the legal ins and outs of this process and are already mounting a ground game to do just that, refuse to certify. They don't teach this in schools, but it's critically important, so I'll explain it to you as simply as possible because you need to understand how this works. Okay, so a bit of background. There are 538 electors. To win, you need 270. In each state, this group of electors is called a slate. Really, they're just a bunch of individuals like you and me. Now, here's where the tricky part comes in. In order to win these electors, the results have to be certified. It's not a given that someone just wins. Certification is necessary. And that's basically just saying, hey, this was a free and fair contest and everything has been counted. But local and county officials, the people responsible for certifying these results, can essentially just go rogue. Their defense for this would be that there was fraud on some level. And this isn't just some crazy legal theory, this is happening. A recent Rolling Stone article found that there are at least 70 officials in key swing states that are 2020 deniers with a history of pro-DJT radical conspiracies. They support the big lie, and make no mistake about it, as Mark Elias, one of the main lawyers for the VP Harris team, put it, and I quote, I think we are going to see mass refusals to certify it.
Remember Mark Elias? We played him on last week's show. He was Trump's lawyer during 2020, and he's on Kamala Harris's campaign as what?
He was Biden's lawyer, right?
No.
Yeah, he defended all the cases.
Oh, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
I was like, 'cause they talked about his victories, and I was like, I don't remember Trump winning.
No, he may have been
that makes a lot more sense.
But
So he's always been a Democrat. Okay,
Yes.
I thought he was one of these. Who's that guy that was on Bill Clinton and then he went to not Karl Rove, Dick Morris. You know how Dick Morris just jumps around to whoever's convenient.
In November. Republicans are counting on not just that they can disrupt in big counties, they are counting on the fact that if they don't certify in several small counties, you cannot certify these statewide results. So what does that mean in practice? Take Georgia, for example, where the state board has been captured by DJT loyalists. If there are enough local and county officials that say, hey, we think that the Democrats pulled some funny business here, and we're not going to certify these results because of it, in a lot of cases, the board can and won't certify. And if there's enough of them, that might prevent the Secretary of State from being able to certify as well. And certainly the Democrats will sue, but it's going to be a challenge. And here's the thing. If neither DJT or Kamala reaches 270 or gets a majority, it becomes a contingent. Dario, what's a contingent? It's what happens under the 12th Amendment. The guiding rule is if neither gets a majority, then it goes to the House of Representatives. And the Republicans control the House, so then they get to pick the president.
Well, surely that's never happened before.
And then the Senate gets to pick the vice president. It's actually happened once before in 1824. Andrew Jackson won the majority. The race was split between 4, so nobody got the full 270. And it went to the House, and instead they picked John Quincy Adams to be president. All of this is very real. And to quote Mark Elias again, the other side is more ruthless, more organized, and more prepared. DJT has already told his supporters, you don't even have to come out in November. DJT and large members of the GOP are banking on this, and they have the machine to do it.
So I keep that in mind when we talk about a lot of stuff that we talk about here on the show, because so much of what I like to present here is just presenting the ways they're preparing themselves for that electoral loss, but the lawsuits that will, there is no way he loses this in any, even with a landslide, there's no way. If it's a landslide, it's even more proof, right?
Yeah, that would seem likely.
Are you familiar with the peculiarity that is Nebraska?
Yeah, they're not a winner take all state.
So Omaha gets 1 vote.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have a 269 tie.
And Omaha
decides the election. And we could have a moment where one man, 1 vote, right? That, you know, the whole election deniers, only 1 vote matters, but then they say, well, not 1 electoral vote. Like
1 county, 1 vote.
I mean, if we come down to that, we're fucked anyways. But like,
so they actually tried.
Very probable. Like you can do the math where it ends like that, and it comes down to Omaha, fucking.
So they actually tried to overturn that, and they just won. One Republican state senator, I believe, or House member. No, they only have one. They only have 1 chamber in Nebraska.
No. Are they unicameral or tricameral? They are either not bicameral in some respect. So either unicameral or
I think they're unicameral. But anyways, 1 Republican was the difference in making that happen, because they were attempting.
And that was the guy that they'd been targeting, right?
Yeah,
they've been a Republican.
Yes,
so a Republican did not let them change the rules in the Republicans' favor.
Right. Correct. Yes.
That guy's going to get primaried.
Perhaps.
I mean, he must have felt safe enough to do that, right? Or just had a spine.
Yeah, maybe both. Hopefully.
Omaha. Man, that was funny in 2016, back when Peyton Manning was still.
Oh yeah.
Naming things at this. Oh, you don't even remember yelling Omaha, do you?
Not really.
Oh, man.
After you said it, I was like, oh, Peyton Manning.
Yeah, my Broncos cup right here, holding.
Oh yeah.
It's in cold.
That was his favorite audible.
Yeah. I want to play this. I got 2. These are the last 2 clips in the first half, and then I want to do a little bit of polling information. And then I think the second half won't be too lengthy. Don't worry about it, okay? Laugh that hard. So I always forget his name.
JP Mandel.
Yeah. JD, or is it JP? JP?
You know, I think J.D. Vance is weird. JP, right? J.D. Mandel.
He was on Tucker's show on X, and he was just saying that like elections or polling data is fake.
They'll lose Wisconsin by 7.
So basically, like the point of this clip is polling data is fake, right? Like me and you talk about polling all the time. I think one of the more recent shows I said, like, well, don't forget polls have to sell themselves to newspapers.
Yeah, they're a product.
They are a product, right? So I have 2 contrasting, not political figures, but
opinions on polling.
Yeah. So this is the MAGA Trumpian side of it. This is JD Vance.
The same people who put those public opinion polls together are the same people who say, for example, that Donald Trump was going to lose Wisconsin by 17 points. Remember that? 3 days before the 2020 election, Donald Trump was supposed to lose Wisconsin by.
This will be a very long show if I interrupt him every time there's a thing to nitpick, but not the same people, because there's a bunch of different polls. Many of them are very politically aligned to one side or the other, and their entire purpose is to skew the average. So when the average comes out, it doesn't make them look as bad, right? We talked about this after the convention. There wasn't as much of a bump for Harris or as bad of a drop for Trump after the conventions and the
Debate.
debates,
Yeah.
because Republicans have I said it on the show. I think they have I wanted to say 7, but let's just be conservative. I think they have at least 3 really dog shit polls that muddle up the average, and Democrats have 1. They're not free of blame on this. They have 1 that really muddles the average, but they don't. Not every. So he's talking about 1 bad poll that said they'd lose in Wisconsin by 17, and it's not all of them. Meanwhile, there was a New York Times Siena College poll that last month had Harris winning by 5, and then this month has Trump winning by 5. That's a swing of 10 points. That's not possible. That's not possible. That's not possible, right? You don't have a 10-point swing in 1 month.
Very unlikely.
It's very
highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Yes.
17 points. And set to the side all of the debates about what happened in 2020.
Sorry, the reason I say that is polls can have flaws in them. That's
Sure.
what we learned in 2016 is we used to trust these more. There's something going on in polling that isn't as trustworthy.
Wisconsin was basically a tied election. So these guys use public polls, they use the media, not even just to manipulate public opinion, but to manipulate our leadership about what public opinion actually.
This is Soviet shit, right? This is get into there and make you not trust what reality is, right? Or not trust your not
It's
trust
all
the
bullshit. So why?
measurements.
Yeah.
No, say it.
It's all bullshit. So why bother? Essentially, is the strategy.
Yep.
Actually says.
So how does that happen? So those polls are fake, is what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely, they're fake. They're absolutely fake.
And I think what people don't realize is that a lot of these polls are designed not to measure opinion, but to shape it.
Yes.
So they are tools of influence.
100%. President Trump said this recently in an interview where he said that the purpose of some of these polls that say, okay, you're down 17 points in Wisconsin. So say you're a Republican voter, you want to support Donald Trump and JD Vance. And of course, the polls now are much better for us than they were back in 2020. But let's say you want to support President Trump and you read a story that says he's down by 17 points in Wisconsin. Why even show up, right? So there's a voter suppression dynamic here.
Is that the way that you would take that, though? Right? So this is what I'm going to play a second clip afterwards. But that line right there of, you see a bad poll, so why would you even show up? I mean, that's one way to look at it.
Or you could look at it. That's my guy. I'm definitely going to get out and vote because
where you try to get people to get depressed and to drop out of the democratic process. Don't even go and vote if the president is down by so much. The purpose of these polls is actually manipulation of both the public themselves, but also, of course, elected officials. And I think that we have to have the courage to trust our own convictions, to say, screw you, I don't buy the polls, and to do what you think is right on behalf of the country.
Counterpoint. Here is not Bob. This is Buzz Burbank on the Bob Cesca show, basically saying, hey, I don't trust polls either. So here's the left's version of that.
That same poll, and when you compare it against other polls, I don't find it credible on any level. Now, again, I think we should behave as voters and as communicators, and I include our audience in that on social media. I think our job continues to be to behave as if the New York Times poll is true.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that the race is that close, but have some confidence that we really do have some solid growth and some solid numbers, and the right things are happening in the right places.
So which one of those methods speaks to you more?
Well, I'm biased, but obviously Buzz speaks to me more. I think that if you're going to be politically active and you believe that there is a reason to vote at all, then vote your conscience. Vote what you think is best for the country, regardless of polls.
Yep.
And if you're worried that the candidate that you prefer isn't going to win, then volunteer. Get out there. Do whatever you can do to move that needle. I mean, if you care about it.
Man, you want to talk about that? They are fucked with their local grassroots shit. Like, do you know Trump's campaign? So ever since Trump fired everybody at the RNC and replaced them with his daughter-in-law,
yes,
they got rid of their grassroots like door knockers people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they outsourced it to I wrote it down. I have it in here somewhere. Republicans have a terrible ground game so far because they fired everybody at the RNC and replaced. I'm reading my note. A group called American PAC that's backed by Elon Musk.
Of course it is.
Those people have no experience in what they're doing. And I don't think that's even like, I think that's a feature, not a bug. They're okay with not spending a lot of money on this because their whole plan is to challenge it in courts after the election. Save that money. Why spend money on door knocking when you could spend money on lawyers?
Yeah, it sounds like something Elon Musk could get behind.
My work phone's out of reach, but I get texts all the time for this bitch named Diana that used to have my phone before I started working here. So they're like, so she must live in Michigan. They're like, Michigan voters, don't forget you can do early voting now. It's not like they are pushing early voting because they know they've demonized it so much. All the early voting right now, the numbers are looking like not everybody reports like the turnout for early voting. They certainly don't report the results yet. But they've had record numbers so far on early voting where they actually report that number. And it's probably not looking good for the side of the ledger that is saying that that's voter fraud.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah.
So let's talk about polls a little bit. So, well, there's one poll that I want to talk about. I talked about earlier is that JD Vance seems to be very personally against polling because he's got a 45% unfavorable rating and a 29% favorable.
Yeah, I don't imagine he'd like that.
Did you know in Hillbilly Elegy, he made the point that his family were immigrants to Ohio that came there for jobs?
I think I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, this sounds like a different group that we've talked about a lot recently.
Yeah. Weird.
How about that? Isn't that something?
That is something.
Okay. So I don't have any more sounds. We're just going to talk about polling data for a little bit. So there was an NBC poll. I want to talk about it. You looked at it. I sent it to you. Harris is up. It's a national poll. Harris is up. Please just interject as much as you want. I don't want to be the only one talking. Harris is up 49-44 on this NBC poll. But if it's an expanded ballot that includes all the third parties, the Jill Steins and the RFKs, Harris has a 6-point lead, 47-41. So a little bit is robbed from her towards third party, but more is robbed from Trump.
The part of the poll that really stuck out to me, which I don't see in the notes here,
I was down here.
I was down here. The change candidate. Where is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Right here.
Okay.
Somewhere. Talk about it. That's right here. Represents change.
Okay, represent change. So Obama, Harris is winning 47-38 as a change, representing change, and that's
This is clearly a change election.
It is, and
like he's supposed to be the outsider, right? That's his
right.
stick.
I think I talked about this on last week's show. Whereas he was president for 4 years, and so we already know who he is, or we should. Now she's been VP for 4 years, but that's not the same as being the president. And I always go back to those voters that voted for Obama twice and then voted for Trump twice. And what they really were voting for was, fuck the status quo. I want change. I want something different.
Right.
And
those people are kind of unpredictable, right?
Right. But those are the voters that are going to matter in those swing states. Those are the, 10, 20,000 people in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in Arizona.
10% more, 47-38, 10% more of the people who are looking for change that are people who are inexplicably people that would vote for Obama twice and then Trump twice.
Yes.
Those are that you're saying at a 10% margin are going to probably
favor
Harris. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
And then so that's one like, because me and you have had jobs where we have to like tear apart data and see how it's trending with what we're doing for our sales and things like that, and be like, look, the big number's good and this number's bad, or the big number's fine, but if you look at this, we're actually going in a good direction. Just keep doing what we're doing, right?
Right. Yes.
So if you look at this polling data in that way, so that one stuck out to me. The other one that stuck out to me was after the debate, because again, this isn't about the people that have already made up their mind. This is about the people that haven't made up their mind. How did things affect them? So after that last debate, 29% said that the debate made them more likely to vote for Harris versus 12% who said it would make them more likely to back Trump. 57% said no difference. 57%, those people don't matter. Those are the people we're talking about, right? They already had their mind made up. But if I mean, 29% versus 12%, we can just call that a 3-to-1 margin, right? Just for ease of numbers. So for every one person that said, I'm going to vote for Trump, but I didn't know, there are 2 people that are going to vote for Harris. And you can extrapolate that out into all these swing states. I think those are huge fucking numbers.
Yeah, I especially if you believe, as we both do, that that's what this election will be. That's the fulcrum that this election will turn either way on. Then that's the bag right there.
And the another number that stood out was that it used to be 20, but I think the last time they did one of these polls, or maybe a few months ago, it was somewhere in the 20s of people that said they were undecided. It's down to 11%. So it's a smaller number. More people are splitting up into their camps. So it's, when you see Harris up 49 to 44 in a national poll, I mean, dude, that's a 5-point margin. If you win, I mean, Biden won by barely 4% of the national poll. I know that doesn't get into swing states and all that stuff, but he's already lost North Carolina probably after this last news.
Probably.
Which, like, he has to win Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Georgia and Arizona. These Arizona numbers that I've seen in the New York Times poll, I don't trust, because I what we talked about earlier with that poll.
I mean, Arizona is big Trump country, but
I mean, it is and it isn't. It's also, all the Californians that moved out there to buy a house.
True. That's true.
Speaking of communists, can I ask you a question? We can go to half.
Sure.
Please do not dive into this too much.
Okay.
I listened to that. I listened to part of that history of communist guy that was on the Lex Fridman podcast. I like to say Fridman, not Friedman.
Okay.
Because it's spelled that way. Do you think communism would have been better if it was paired with like superior German engineering and industrialness, as it was originally intended by Karl Marx?
I think Marx would have thought so.
I mean, rather than these fucking peasants in Russia, right? I mean, we're talking
No,
about...
seriously, I think Marx would have thought so.
I mean, big surprise that it failed a nation that was living in a feudal society like 5 minutes before, right?
Indeed.
All right, I'll go get a drink. See you in a minute, bud. Drive safe.
See you on beat.
This is the B-side of our platter, sports fans. And I'm singing just for you, covered in sequins. In the canyons of your mind, I will wander through your brain to the ventricles of your heart, my dear. I'm in love with you again. Cross the mountains of your chest, I will stick a Union Jack to the forest of your cheek, through the holes in your string bag.
Hey,
we're back.
Hey, did you do it? Did you try it out?
I did not. I
Come on.
I know. I forgot.
All right. One of these days, you're gonna pee down the side of your leg, and you're gonna be like, "This is so easy."
It's this life hack I never knew about.
It's a life hack. That's exactly what it is. It's been a while since it's been
a while.
Hold on, is that on there?
Yeah,
It's been.
That's not the same thing.
No, it's
It's been a while since we've done this, but can you open up a Google search and just check on Trump Media and Technology Group Corp stock? How are they doing? I get curious and I forget. I think at their high, I believe when they were like $60 something per share, Marjorie Taylor bought like 50 grand worth.
It's down to $12.79 a share.
He's such a fucking scam artist, and all these people are like, "Is this the line to lose all my shit?" Whoa! As long as I get a sheet of paper that says I own stock in Trump.
Pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Pad for me. I'm doing something.
Okay. Let's see. Year to date, down 26.7%. Yeah, great investment. There is no PE ratio because they have no profits. So there's that.
They had like a no sell ban that they had.
Yeah.
What's that do? What does that do?
Well, for initial investors, they had to hold their shares for like I don't know if a year or 18 months.
Do a lot of companies do that?
It happens, especially if you're like allowed to be in on the what's that
Ground
called?
floor.
Yeah, what's that? The
Opening round or something.
The initial.
There's a word for it.
There's a word I can't think of right now. But yeah, if you're allowed to be, one of those people that has early access, then oftentimes they'll do something like that.
Nancy Pelosi.
Sure.
Okay. All right. God, that makes me laugh. Fucking suckers. Like that's just, just like you see he's selling coins.
Yeah. Well, remember when he sold NFTs?
I do, but he's selling like literally like the Franklin Mint has like Trump coins. Like
I can't wait for the plates.
Dude, spoons.
The plates are coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, and spoons.
How
did people ever collect spoons?
I don't know. Did you ever go to like your friend's house or their grandma's house
They
and
have,
they
like,
had
a
that
curio cabinet?
They had all the fucking Hitler plates? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. You know what? Perfect timing. Trump introduced a new catchphrase at a recent rally.
Oh, wowie.
Be the same, I don't think. The fact is, and I'll say it now, you have to get him the hell out. You have to get him out. I'm sorry. To get him out. Can't have it. Can't have it. They've destroyed it.
Now the captions screwed up. They said "take it back," so obviously it's not clear what's happening. The crowd is chanting "send them back." They're talking about the Haitian migrants that he singled out in Ohio.
Oh, you mean the legal migrants? Those ones?
I do mean that. So imagine being a legal migrant and being like, "Send me back." Like, I honestly hope this catches on. Like that. So it's one thing to build the wall. Like I get it, border security. Blah blah blah, but send them back. I really, really, really hope this catches on and they keep doing it because that's fucking radioactive. Like that 11% we were just talking about that still haven't made up their mind. Get louder. They obviously haven't heard you. Like me and you do this show for people like me and you.
Right.
We think in our head that somebody like them is going to hear us and be like, listen to this logical argument. No, those people aren't paying attention and it hasn't got to them. So do that louder because that's.
I mean, you combine that with the poisoning of the blood and the eating of pets. And I mean, it's not even a dog whistle anymore. It's a fucking siren. Like, so to your point, yeah, let him hear it. Let him fucking hear it.
Absolutely. Here's another clip from one of his recent rallies. This is in North Carolina on Saturday.
Said she worked in McDonald's.
Have you heard this thing? He's upset that he thinks that she faked working at McDonald's. Are you aware of this?
So
you got quiet. What?
I'm not aware of this. No.
So his big fucking thing, the man who lies like almost per sentence, right?
Right.
He thinks he's finally got her. She lied about something. She
Oh.
lied about working at McDonald's. She's a big phony. She never worked at McDonald's. He's said this multiple times since then. He's like, he's gonna say she needs to drop out. She needs to retract her statement. What like, and just before I interrupt multiple times, McDonald's doesn't keep track of part-time employees for more than 45 years.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, what a weird thing. Yeah, back before computers, because she's not as old as Joe Biden, but like, okay.
She said she worked in McDonald's. Oh, she worked over the French fries. It was so hot. The heat. It was so hot. She'd burn her hand every once in a while on the grease. Oh, McDonald's. It was a lie.
It's so weird for him to say that because I can promise you he's never been in that environment. Like,
Oh,
not
for
doing
sure.
the work. Like, he's probably hit on some woman working on the fries. Like,
Probably, yes.
I
That
bet he
seems
makes a bet with his
on
friends.
brand.
Like, yeah, I don't know what that hot chick's doing back here working on the fries, but I bet you I could fuck her. Like, that's happened once in his life, right?
At least once.
Right.
At least
See that girl in the drive-thru, and you're like, "What are you doing here?" Right? That's
yeah.
happens to you, right?
In-N-Out Burger often, actually.
Sometimes at In-N-Out Burger, they wear their button-ups.
Uh-huh. You like that?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Never worked at McDonald's. And the fake news doesn't want to mention it. They had a big thing about her job at McDonald's, and they went there, and the manager's been there a long time. Other people have been there a long time, say, no, she never worked here.
You've been there for
Never
45
worked here.
years? Jeez. That's
She
wild.
lied.
I mean, he's also referencing the fact that in America, somebody was able to work at McDonald's for 45 years. Like, because he's saying he's talking to someone that, like, the purpose of him talking to them would mean that they could corroborate that they worked there with her and that they're still there and have access to the records, right?
I mean, you should get a golden watch if you work at McDonald's for 45 years.
You know, that sounds simple, but that's really big.
You know what they gave my dad for 35 years on oh my god, Railroad. It's fine. I don't need to slander them. They gave him a pocket knife. 35 years, a pocket knife.
Welcome to corporate America, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, that was in like the 80s, but yeah.
It was a pure and simple lie. She never worked at
Listen to this.
McDonald's, not allowing for Democrat-demanded late-term abortion in the 7th, 8th, and 9th month, or even
That's true. That's right. You're right. You're right. Democrats are going around insisting that people kill their babies in the third trimester. Yeah.
execution of a baby after birth, which is what they want.
They want it like that. Like, actually, I'm embarrassed that I've ever said anything kind about any Democrat ever, because it turns out it's actually true. Democrats want you to kill every baby after they're born. They insist.
Murder all the babies.
Yeah,
It's
murder
right there in their party line. Yeah.
Execute the baby.
I will protect women at a level never seen before. They will finally be healthy, hopeful, safe, and secure. Their lives will be happy, beautiful, and their lives will be great again. So women, we love.
This will live in history, right? Like those words that you just heard come out of his mouth in order, all of those sounds.
Yeah.
Someone's going to look at that in 20 years and they're going to look at 50% of us and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, of course, Kamala Harris is terrible. Like, of course. But like, you seriously considered this guy? Like, it's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. I don't like acting like this. I'm sorry, but that's like the last 30 seconds before I started this rant is some of the most pathetic expressions a human being has ever made on this earth. And this guy did it in an attempt to get you to like him more. Oh my God. You know what my version of that is? Early on in the show, I said, I'll pay people $5 to subscribe. And I still like think about that in the back of my mind. Like while I'm brushing my teeth, I go, ugh, it's cringe, bro. Why would you ever like just do your thing and let people like this man just did that. Like this man just elicited that confession out of me because that still makes him look worse.
This man who said grab him by the pussy, this man who paid
Alan, that was locker room talk. Come on. He thought it was private.
Oh, how about
he was talking to Billy Bush?
How about the time when he paid that porn star not to talk about when he was fucking her
That's
while
if
his
you,
wife
if you,
had
if you,
a
that's
baby?
if you believe the guy that wrote the checks for her. Right? I mean, that gave
Right.
the money to Alan.
there-
That's only if you believe the guy that paid her.
How about the E. Jean Carroll thing? How about that? What about that? That's the guy that's
He's
going
a
to protect
gossip
women?
columnist, Alan. Come on.
The guy that appointed 3 judges to the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade, that guy, he's going to protect your health and make you, that guy. Totally. Makes sense.
I
Checks
love the
out.
idea of like the solution to any controversial thing is I just want the states to decide it. Like, I feel like we had a fucking war about the states deciding things before that we just kind of agree was a better thing to decide nationally. Like, oh wow, like, and they're like, you don't understand. Half the people liked having slaves. It's like,
Yeah, including Mark Robinson. I mean,
Jesus, Uncle Ruckus. Thanks, bud. That was fun. What do you say we skip some of these and just move on? Did you see the video of him bragging about Sheldon Adelson?
No.
You know who Sheldon Adelson? Why don't you tell listeners who Sheldon Adelson is while this loads?
Why am I blanking on Sheldon?
Oh,
Adelson?
dude, I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that.
No,
He used to be a Democratic donor.
The mega donor. Yes.
Yeah. I forget his industry. Well, anyways, so he's a huge Jewish donor who largely influences American politicians on Israeli international affairs. Does that sound good?
Yes, he was a former CEO of the Sands in Las Vegas.
That's right. Yes, yeah, the Sands and like the Italian
Venetian,
the Venetian, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Venetian like Thailand. Can you double check that? Like, I think like the main ownership is through that, which is just, I don't know that. Jump in with that.
Miriam mentioned 4 or 5 of the things those.
So Miriam is Sheldon's wife.
Okay.
So he's like, I made a deal with Sheldon, and then Miriam interrupts.
Question, Miriam mentioned 4 or 5 of the things those. Each individual thing. Oh, her husband would drive me crazy. You have to do this. You have to do that. You don't know what I had to put up with. She was like the calming influence. I said, Sheldon, I can't do that. It's too much. He said, no. And every time I got something, he'd immediately start with something else, right?
This is the guy that you're saying, like, we can't just keep letting Joe Biden fund this genocide. Like, you're like, we got to pick this other guy that's saying the person that, like, largely influences American Israeli politics. Every time he asked for something, I gave it to him. And then his wife had to stop him from asking for more. And then I gave it to him. That's what he just said, right?
In front of an Israeli flag.
But I wasn't even being rude when I just summarized him, right?
No, not at all.
I just used less words than him. Somehow I use less.
He'd get something, always fighting for Israel and the Jewish people. But, I had such great respect for him.
This is him talking to 2 audiences at once. He's like, so everybody that's Israeli is sympathetic in this audience. Like, did you hear that? And then he's like, but also vote for me, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's true, though. She had to sometimes tell him, calm down. You just had a big victory. Let's celebrate. No, we have to immediately start. Let's see if we can do Golan Heights. How about Golan Heights? They've been trying to get it for 72 years. I got it done in about 15 minutes, okay? Even Sheldon couldn't believe that one, I'll tell you. Even Sheldon couldn't believe that one. He said, we just got Golan Heights. They didn't even ask for it. I actually...
There was no edit there. So he went from saying, I got it for them because he asked me to, and then I got it for him. They didn't ask me for it, right?
Yeah, he said they didn't even ask me for it. He was amazed.
In the same 20 seconds of audio, he's contradicting himself.
Apparently so, yes.
Like, I feel myself self-censoring because the candidate that was his alternative, the cat just knocked over my coffee thermos.
Oh no.
No, it's closed, but that's excellent feat of strength from this little meow meow. What was I saying before the cat so weirdly interrupted? It's okay.
You were self-censoring yourself.
I don't know why.
This is the candidate that...
Let's hear the last part again. I'm self-censoring because the Democratic candidate was fucking feeble-minded. I've got a clip of him not being able to finish the sentence later on in the show, right? Like, I think it's fair to point out that that's just rambling madness.
Yeah, and we've had many clips over the last month or so that exhibit that same behavior. Like, it's just clear that he's not where you.
Joe was bad in 2020, but he wasn't this bad 4 years ago. Why am I supposed to assume that this guy will be any different? Like, he's 3 years younger than him.
Because he passes all those cognitive tests with flying colors, Dustin. That's why.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Yes.
I remembered that. That was so long ago.
He keeps talking about that still, by the way.
It's crazy. He keeps talking about it. I actually want to play this, even though I recognize this may take a lot of time. Sarah Huckabee Sanders introduced Donald Trump at a rally in Michigan. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the governor of Arkansas.
The town hall.
AR Kansas is just like Kansas, except it has an extended magazine and probably a shorter barrel. I'm not sure.
That sounds right. This is the town hall we've talked about.
Yeah. So the introduction to this town hall is noteworthy. So this was back on 17th, but I didn't see a lot of people talk about this. I'm happy to talk about this here.
Okay.
So I have some follow-up on this that I haven't heard a lot of other people saying. So here.
Not only do my kids serve as a permanent reminder of what's important, they also keep me humble.
So they're back to their attacking of stepchildren, which is really what this is. So she's about to compare this to Kamala Harris not being a mom.
You can walk into a room like this where people cheer when you step onto the stage, and you might think for a second that you're kind of special. Then you go home and your kids remind you very quickly you're actually not that big of a deal. My kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble.
So now I'm in this weird position again where I feel like I want to say something nice about Kamala Harris, and like I don't like how that feels inside me. Like somewhere between like here and here, I don't like how that feels. I don't think she knows what humble means.
Yeah, or what the definition of a family is in 2024 in America.
Yeah, what did you Google? Because I have a number.
Percentage of Americans with blended households. Now,
yeah.
This is Google AI, so it's probably wrong. It says 16%. I think it's higher than that.
I think it's higher than that too. So like what on earth is going on in these strategy meetings? What?
1,300 new step families are formed every day, and 40% of American families are blended.
That's what I had. I had 40%. I wasn't going to contradict you on the show.
The AI sucks. That's why.
Yeah.
It gave me the AI answer first and then the real answer second. Of course.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah, for real.
We should make this more of a game. We have to figure out how to harness that for entertainment purposes, because that's really bad.
That's pretty bad. Yeah.
Dude, I don't want to get off on this diversion. 40% of the United States are blended families. Like, what the fuck is going on in these strategy meetings? Like, how does this get allowed to be the agreed upon? This is a governor, so one of 50, and the person you want to be president, who was president before, that worked with you, your old friends from work.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get him rehired because you think he'd be a better boss than your current boss.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 50 of them. This is like a big district for us, right?
Hey,
like you know these people personally. Why are you not able to message the same way?
I have a question. Isn't Trump's family technically a blended family also?
You mean you're talking about Barron?
Yeah. Melania.
Well, I don't know. His dad might be Slovakian. We don't know about who the father is for sure.
I mean, and just walking around and
Slovenian. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
And like meeting coworkers and neighbors, your average American knows that. That's in my experience, like half the time, it's a blended family. It's just very common.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if his father is Slovenian, that even makes it more of a blended family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he the one that got born while he was fucking the porn star?
I think the timing checks out on that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very strange part of the electorate to try to alienate. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Like, I know we talk about demographic. Oh, come on. What's the word? Demographic inversion all the time. And we talk about it in a way that's like concerning about like how the numbers are going to work out for everybody, because we have this whole tax-based thing. And I like living in the world that is somewhat within the range of the status quo, that is going towards the direction that'll be the way that I prefer it to be. But I don't want to like lose this whole fucking thing in the process. So status quo, don't care for it too much. But, I'd like to see how far we can push the envelope to where things get better. But let's not lose all of the things that make this work right now, global shipping and things like that, right? Okay. I feel like the people in the MAGA camp that talk about demographic inversion are talking about a different thing. Like, I feel like they're talking about like because right here, her whole point is she raised stepchildren. They didn't come out of her vagina. She didn't have kids from sex. If you're not having kids from sex, you're not a woman.
Yeah, that's the argument, I guess. Yes.
That's not, I mean, is that not entirely like what is going on in these strategy meetings? Like, how is that allowed to be your unified message? Again, I'm telling you, it's the former president on display in a public interview with one of the top 50 people, and you only got half of them anyways. So it's like, there's 25 people you fucking talk to. Like, it's your assistant managers. How do you not like, how do you agree on this kind of, you know what am I even saying? It's his messaging. It's all through the party.
You know what I just realized?
I didn't get that until now. Yeah.
No, that both of us are also from blended families.
You're still on this.
Yeah.
I know it's fucking stupid. Like a lot of people have like natural biases to be repulsed by what you're saying, right?
Sure, I guess. What the fuck, man?
I don't know. I was on this whole thing about how like our government's a Ponzi scheme and this whole thing's just like a tax base, and you're talking about pumping out kids so we can feed our Ponzi scheme, and that it itself is disgusting. But you're right, from a political messaging standpoint.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's nearly half the population. That's insane.
Yeah, certainly enough of the people that vote, right?
Yeah.
All right. I think we need to skip some of these. He has a very long ramble in a town hall.
Okay. Is it the same town hall?
I don't know. It is.
Yeah.
Should I read it or should we play it?
Let's play it.
Okay.
Unless you want to read it.
No.
Okay. Oh, Hannibal Lecter. Great. Okay.
Great. That's the second.
I don't think I've ever said this before. So we do these rallies. They're massive rallies. Everybody loves. Everybody stays till the end. By the way, you know, when she said that,
let that go.
well, your rallies, people leave. Honestly, nobody does. And if I saw them leaving, I'd say, "And ladies and gentlemen, make America great again," and I'd get the hell out. Okay? Because I don't want people leaving. But I do have to say. So I give these long, sometimes very complex. I'm using that as an example of people that are coming in from Silence of the Lambs. I use it. They say, it's terrible. So they say, so I'll give this long, complex area. For instance, that I talked about a lot of different territory. The bottom line is, I said, the most important thing. We're going to bring more plants into your state and this country to make automobiles. We're going to be bigger than before. But the fake news, there's a lot of them back there. You know, for a town hall, there's a lot of people. But the fake news likes to say, oh, he was rambling. No, that's not rambling. That's genius when you can connect the dots. You got to. Now.
Woman, man, camera, TV.
Yeah, he's connecting the dots. That's what he's doing. Not rambling at all.
Not even close. No.
Not like that.
Just trying to find one.
The closing speech at the RNC.
Puerto Rico.
Sorry. I just found the first one. I apologize.
That's fine.
You want me to find a better one?
Sure, find a better one.
What did I do?
Okay. What did I do?
But if I'm sitting down and that boat's going down and I'm on top of a battery.
This is very brief. This is him saying somehow a woman's doing better than me. I mean, maybe it's contextually different. You tell me.
And they put her in, and she's somehow a woman. Somehow she's doing better than he did.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine it can last.
Even the anchor man is like, yeah.
Gutfield was like easiest ground.
And they put her in, and she's somehow a woman.
Somehow a woman.
She's somehow a woman. She's somehow a woman. A woman. I'm going to ask you to translate this for me later. To a point, show me on the doll. Where are we? Somehow a woman. Not running in 28. Oh, man, we don't have to play that. Did you see the clip where he said he's not going to run in 2028?
Yes.
He's like, if I lose, but I don't think I'm going to lose. So I don't know. How did you take that? Is that reassuring to you, or does it not matter because it's him talking?
You know, I'm just hopeful the cheeseburgers will get to him before then. So
As long as that ketchup doesn't make its way in, I think.
Right.
That's fine. Yeah. Just keep throwing the ketchup.
I've spoken with some economists about your proposal for tariffs.
So he's asked by your boy, isn't it Freights? Chris Freights? No, that's from Mike O'Mara.
Chris Hayes.
Chris Hayes. I think this is Chris Hayes. So he says, I've spoken to economists about your tariffs, and
They say they don't see how it will not make items cost more in the United States.
They'll approve it. They'll approve it. And number one, I don't need them. I don't need Congress, but they'll approve it. I'll have the right to impose them myself if they don't.
you got on that? Like, should I just play the next clip, or it's probably not worth talking about, right? I don't need Congress.
I don't need Congress. I can just do it.
Yeah.
Dictator day one, folks. I got this.
See, that was the whole Trump cult. That wasn't even that long. I find myself being tired of hearing him talk.
Yeah.
I never thought I would say that because I do find so much entertainment out of it.
But at some point, it just stops
too
feeling
much.
like
It's oversaturating.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a lot. It's
the
a lot.
sponge is full. It's the spirit is willing, but the flesh is bruised.
The pattern is full, Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah, negative. This is Turtle Man 5000. What's Mitch McConnell? Oscar Mitch.
Was that already a show title? Because if it wasn't, it should be.
Okay, I'll write it down while I play this. This is him being asked about tariffs.
Former President Trump has proposed a 200% tariff on John Deere tractors if they're made in Mexico. Are you concerned that some of these tariff proposals by the GOP nominee could drive up costs for consumers or hurt
The GOP nominee. Who on earth could that be, Alan?
urban exporters in Kentucky, for example?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of tariffs. They raise the prices for American consumers. I'm more of a free trade kind of Republican that remembers how many jobs are created by the exports that we engage in. So I'm not a tariff fan.
Former President Trump.
My wife, oh wait, never mind. Don't do that. Or my good friend, the aluminum king of Russia. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That was such a stilted response, man.
At least he didn't blue screen.
I was gonna say he almost blue screened, but
I know every time you're like,
is he gonna? Yeah,
he's
he managed to get
I mean, he's just old,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like him for a number of reasons, but he's reached the phase where it's kind of like Biden, where it's like, at this point, being mean at you isn't gonna
Yeah.
like.
I suppose that's true.
Don't mistake it for sympathy. It's just like, he's a human being.
Feels like you're kicking him while he's down.
At some point, he's a human being.
Sure. I'm not sure at what point, but
ask me 5 years ago. Oh yeah, that's right. Hey, at some point, he's a human. He lays down on a hot lamp to go to sleep, on a rock with a lamp, just like every human being.
He gives me Emperor Palpatine vibes a little bit, but
dude, he does.
Yeah.
Ultimate power. Tell me if this doesn't sound like Fox asking how they can help Trump get elected. I get it. We assume that CNN and MSNBC are the left and Fox is the right, mostly because that's how they created their brand.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to this.
So, Mr. President, my question is about voting bloc strategy. And it's that we know there are 90 million evangelicals in this country, 40 million of whom don't vote, and 15 million of whom aren't even registered to vote. So what's our plan to harness those votes for you in November?
This is not a guest on Gutfeld. This is a woman, I don't know how to say this, Emily Compagno. She's an employee of Fox News.
Yeah, how do we capture that voting block? How do we do that? We're on your team clearly because
You know what we should do is we should go get somebody that cheats on their wife and comments on porn websites. Is this going to be the new thing? Is like we just find people's porn website history?
Who does that?
I don't know. So this is what I've been hinting at for a while. This is I'm so fucking glad this vegetable is off the menu.
Thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next?
This is real.
Who's next?
Jesus.
This looks like an AI.
It does.
Distinguished guests,
The MC has to introduce the next person.
the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
By the way, he's from a small country like ours, with low population, but he's become a good and decent man and a good friend.
Modi? Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's become a good and decent man.
Sure.
So I want to thank you all for being.
Did you detect, especially towards the end, did you detect like aggressiveness?
Like the way he like patted him on the back or whatever.
It's just did you like it looked like subdued, like controlled, but loss of control, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's combined with the dementia or as an expression of the dementia is a really, really, really bad sign. Like I get calls for the 25th Amendment. 25th?
Yeah, I think it's 25th. Yeah.
25th Amendment. Like I get it. Unfortunately, as has been expressed enough times in my recent memory, both parties are not fair actors in this. They're not they're bad faith. They're like admittedly bad faith actors. And in my opinion, my way of measuring it, I've seen a lot more examples, especially when it comes to just playing. I don't need to exaggerate it or enumerate it. The Republicans, with the ways that they've treated the court and the way that they've gotten rid of the filibuster, and they were like, well, you wouldn't get rid of the filibuster. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you literally just did this. Like,
yeah, it's bizarro world.
But to just, man, you can't get rid of him because then it's only Kamala and then it's Big Mike. So they'll find a way to push through an impeachment so that Mike can be in charge during the election. And I said that to someone and they're like, that's 6 weeks, bro. Like the last time it took them months and months and months. I'm like, you're thinking about the Zelensky phone call. You forgot he did it twice. He got impeached in between January 6th and January 20th. Like,
that's true.
Okay.
I mean, that was a pretty extreme case, but yes, that's true.
They can find something. She said she worked at McDonald's, Alan.
You know, insurrection line about your past employment. You know,
I mean, if she's lying about it, how could you trust her, Alan? All right. Here's her talking to Meryl Streep.
Just taking a step back, and thank you, Marilyn, for your
the
gift.
For the gifts.
She's probably just a huge Marilyn Manson fan. And
that's probably what she's thinking. She's like, well, you're a beautiful people. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn, for your the gift.
Thank you, Marilyn, for the gift that you give
I'm
us.
glad you could roll with that. Beautiful people. That was nice pull. Nice pull.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's an easy one to do.
Yeah.
That's kind of always in the background. Like, because I lived through 1998 or 1996 or whatever that was. Like,
yeah.
It couldn't be 6. Man, there was a lot of stuff that sounded like that.
That and 9 Inch Nails.
Contemporary. Dude, you know what was one of the biggest mind blows for me in my life in like 1995 was when I found out that Pretty Hate Machine was from 1989. Because I was like, same time that REM was like the other thing at the radio at the same time was this. Like, there's no way. Yeah, that was.
I think Reznor produced Marilyn. Maybe that's why they sounded similar.
I didn't know that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've said this before on the show, but maybe there's new people. Trent Reznor is like the great grandson or whatever of, if you work in an industrial space and you have like roll up doors, there's a big area heater that hangs down from the ceiling called a Reznor heater. That's
his family. That's crazy.
And Harris, you support partnering with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation to capture and breed xenomorphs for military use. Some say that could be irresponsible.
They're literally tools of war. They were literally designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. It's just reasonable.
Vice President Harris.
Talking about
that guy never misses.
That guy, yeah. No, Hoff Matthews, the best. Yeah. There's another guy that does a pretty good job at it. Mima, can you remind me? I got to talk to that guy because his shit's really good too. I got to feature him more on here too. I just did a one-way conversation on a podcast. I'll see you in the DMs. Okay. This is Kamala Harris introduced a new accent. Oh, I should go get the bloody clip ready. Yeah. Did you know she's very versatile?
I love you back.
Vocally talented, one might say.
I love you back.
What is going on with my buffering? It won't play it. You know what?
I love you back.
Deep.
I love you back.
Clip.
I love you back. I love you.
Says it. You hear the way that I love you back. Like
it's so odd. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think she's just caught her breath, or do you think this is another? I hate that she keeps breaking out other accents and not doing the Indian one. Like, it really bugs me. Like, we gotta, like, we deserve a.
Fuck you, Gladys!
Like, I just want to hear it. I know she can do it. You know she can do it. Like, there's no way she didn't make fun of her auntie, like, as a kid, being like, you know, like, she's talking to her other cousin and she's like, this is fucking bullshit. She keeps telling us this, and then she does the impression of her. Like, I know she has it in her. I want to fucking hear it. It's not even that much to ask. I feel like that's very reasonable. Like, it's not 2024. We're not being racist. I just want to hear it.
You can start a petition to make that happen.
Like, if Robin Williams were running for president, you'd be like, well, do the voice.
Do the voices. Yeah, that's what you do.
Come on. I want to hear it. All right.
That's really funny.
I know, right? I have another clip, but it's just somebody doing a parody, so we could just summarize it. It's fine. Because I do want to play some of these culture wars. Did you see she did an interview with Oprah?
Yeah.
I think we kind of teased about that. And in the interview with Oprah, she was like, I carry a gun on me. And Oprah was like, oh, I thought you just said that in the interview. She's like, no. If you come into my house, I'll fucking kill you. And then she looks and she's like, oh shit, we're doing an interview with a shooting survivor. And because of that, we need to make sure that the people with the bigger guns than me aren't on the street. Something like that. Like, it was
I don't remember the "I'd fucking kill you if you came to my house."
Maybe it wasn't those exact words.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not an exact sick, whatever, you know.
Yeah. You were paraphrasing.
Yeah, it was paraphrasing, Alan.
Yeah.
It's another battle in the culture wars. Oh, not the culture wars. They're worried about a culture war. Culture wars. Stop with the culture wars.
Do you want to talk about Diddy on the Friday show?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me just.
There's a podcast I need to get to before I want more.
Okay, we'll do it then. But just I gotta move this now, or I'll forget to do it later.
Okay.
The first clip we're gonna play from the Culture Wars, though, is the I wanted to play this on last week's Culture Wars, but it would have been at like the 3-hour mark exactly. This clip fucking speaks to me, man. Especially the second and third act.
What are you guys up to? Stupid commie voting for Kamala.
Okay, just I should have set you up a little bit more. As a very online person, the way discourse falls apart in this is just like it.
Spot on.
It's spot on. It's spot on. So you call her a commie voting for.
Commie voting for Kamala, the terrorist sympathizer. Wow. Okay. What about you guys? None of your business, fascist. You genocide enabler. I don't.
Great MAGA.
I don't like the genocide. No, I think we should stop it. You're just like the Republicans. I'm just like them? Abortion is killing babies. How? Wait, who are you? Oh, I just came from over there. You fucking.
So it was just like an actual leftist. So someone that, like, prior to all of this might be somebody that you're like,
fascist. I decided I didn't really like them anymore. Oh, you want to hang out? I mean, I don't really agree with much of your.
So the whole bit is, at least to this point, like the modern like schism with both left and right has made people that are like leftists more amenable to liberals and centrists. I can relabel this any number of ways. I don't care for some of the ones they picked. I get their message, right?
Sure.
And like just watching the center kind of coagulate a little bit more than it has before. It doesn't feel that way because MAGA is so strong, but like, haven't you felt that the center has become less of a lame place to be and more of a like, well, Jesus Christ, at least you're making some sense.
Yeah, but I was doing it before it was cool, so I just want to point that out.
I know.
I'm kidding.
We wrote it down. We wrote it down. It's in our record.
Your stances, but oh, you must love Israel. You seem like you might be the only sane person here besides me. Wait, who's that guy? Oh, I just came from over there. Transgender operations in schools. Yeah, I feel that. So we're gonna hang out. I mean,
liberals, actual leftists.
I don't really agree with either of you. Yeah, I don't really agree with any of you either. Look, I don't really agree with either of your stances either. But look at them. Harm reduction is fascism. Immigrants are eating dogs. Only options are Jill Stein and Donald Trump, baby. Fuck your kids. I want my gun. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. We can hang out this one time. Guys, hold up. We need to watch this.
Respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal
It's turning into a fucking ad. I haven't watched this whole thing.
fighting force in the world.
Ooh. Yeah. No.
Okay, that's pretty funny. So in the end, conservatives are cringe, leftists are cringe, and liberals are cheering.
Yeah.
God, this is so fucking accurate, dude. I'm sorry if we've lost some of you because this is a little too much video heavy. I feel like we've transcribed it pretty well. Like is that not exactly like what it's been like to be online?
Yeah, and I'm not even that online, but just generally interacting. Yes, that is exactly what.
Oh, you mean real life?
Yes.
You do this in real life?
I do this in real life.
I avoid that.
Hey, we still hanging out?
Yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
I don't think we have any other option. Guys, hold on. This part's important.
Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end.
You know, I do like her sometimes. I wish she'd elaborate more on that point, though. Terrorist sympathizer, genocide enabler. No, I really think it's best she didn't. What are you guys up to? Stupid
Oh, gonna get into the horseshoe again, right?
Hey, and if you want to see the video for only $3 a month, you just
You know,
watch
that's a good point. Yeah. Most people do get that. Yeah, there we go. You sent me this Channel 5 video. It's like it's a full hour long. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I already have a clip for that in the show. So is it worth talking about Aurora still? I feel like it, right? Because I feel like that's where the conversation goes, and they're like, okay, Springfield might be exaggerated, but Aurora is taken over by Venezuelan gangs.
You know, it's funny. So Aurora was like sort of the first.
Yeah, it happened a couple days before, a couple weeks before.
Yeah, and then it moved to Springfield. In fact, he addresses that at the end of the full video, which I thought he did a really good job of. I won't spoil it. Maybe we'll play it next week.
Okay, I will watch that tomorrow.
Yeah, but so there's a lot. So the whole Aurora thing was that these apartment buildings were being overtaken by Haitian gangs. And so Andrew Callahan of Channel 5 actually goes there and talks to people on the ground, people who live in these neighborhoods, in those apartments, shows video. And so, yeah, it's not a great place to be or to live.
It never was.
It never was.
No,
and
I want to talk about this. Like when I lived in Denver, like I did talk about this. It was always a bad part of town. Like
there certainly are problems with crime and problems with drugs and all of that stuff. But
Denver's gotten a population increase. And also, Denver used to suck. What do you people expect? All you people living in those loft apartments and on fucking Colfax?
Okay.
Do you think my dad didn't think that, God, if I only had $20,000 extra, I could have bought one of these buildings before? Like, it didn't cost anything. That was the worst part of town. And these people live in these high-rise buildings in downtown Denver. And they're like, can you believe it? Aurora got worse. Like,
I mean, Oakland is very much the same. I mean, there's parts of Oakland that it's just, it's high-rises everywhere, beautiful buildings. And then there's parts that are shanty towns. So the narrative was that these Venezuelan gangs has taken over these apartment buildings. People were paying rent to them, essentially. And what it all actually comes down to is there's some slumlords that ran these buildings and used those narratives to take away the spotlight from them for their being
when that narrative got put out, they were like, that's fine. Definitely go with that. I'm not fixing this anyways. You know what? That's the whole story with Detroit too. Like half of the reason why downtown Detroit looks like such utter shit is because that's all owned by some white stuffy cunts that live up in like Sterling Heights or Grosse Pointe and Oakland County, a different county over. And they're like, why would I fix that building? The blacks burnt it down in the 60s. I'm not fixing it. They'll just burn it down again. Like I fixed it last time. And no, I'm not exaggerating. It's
I believe it.
Like, so like, I'm not shocked that this happens at a microcosm where one building slumlord is like, no, that message is way better than me having to actually fix that. Like,
yeah, he actually
I wasn't going to fix it anyways. Might as well blame them.
In this episode, he actually interviews a guy that used to work for that landlord as like a property manager, and he details all of the shady shit that the landlord wanted to do, and he ended up quitting because he was like, "Fuck it, I'm not
going to be a part of this."
I'm not going to be a part of this.
Wait, so they interviewed this biker.
Yes.
I'm good. How you doing? What's your initial take? What do you think?
I don't see anything that lets me believe that there's a potential migrant takeover of this neighborhood. I'm always willing to readjust my stance based on evidence, but so far, I haven't seen anything that suggests that's true. The Venezuelan gang thing is likely propaganda to try and shift voters red.
Why do you think that they would seize the migrant issue in particular right now?
Because that's all that MAGA has to offer is border control. That's the only thing.
This guy has an American-Israeli patch on.
Yeah, he does. Interesting guy.
Sorry.
No, just interesting guy, this guy. He's definitely not your average dude, I would say.
Yeah. Although if you're imagining maybe your stereotypical biker, he's not quite that either.
Yes, that's true.
Hammer home besides that, between that and women's rights.
Create fear and paranoia to turn into votes?
Kind of what it's feeling like. I think that's, historically how the right works, in any country. Fear makes the overhead window shift right.
I'm not going to lie, when we first saw you, we thought you might have been on the right.
Yeah, I get that on occasion, but no, I'm about as far left as you get.
Yeah? What's it like being a leftist biker?
Well, I'm not like in a club or anything, I just like to be on the bike.
How's it going, brother?
I thought he meant a leftist biker club.
That would be funny. Yeah. Well, there was a whole narrative about like bikers, specifically Hell's Angels, going over there to figure out what's going on and put it right.
That's a story as old as a few books we have, right?
Yeah. So there you go.
HD camera, you can really see that picture of Natasha in the background there. I'll stop talking. Dude, I tried to play this and then it got pulled, so then I had to Google it and use the fucking Wayback Machine.
Oh wow!
So this guy's on a podcast. Ours is about to get banned in a lot of regions. This guy on a podcast was saying Haitians. Somehow he's going to say Haitians with the hard R.
What?
Recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants.
What the? I was like, where's the R?
I mean, I know what he ended up doing, but like it's kind of weird. I don't know. I've talked into this microphone an awful lot, and sometimes you get G's and N's and I's and R's and E's all in one like series of sentences. Sometimes one word ends and the next word starts. It hasn't happened by accident yet.
No, that's a very specific combination.
I didn't even say Haitian immigrants properly, and I still fucked it up. Not in a way that like how.
Yeah, that's
do it
a problem.
We'll do it back and forth. Oh, we're like in our New York Times interview.
Yeah.
All right.
You be Michael Morrow.
Slickets gave me this about a week ago. It reminds me of there was an old video called "The Coolest Girls You Know," or not the whitest kids you know. And it was like there was these Barbie videos where like they go into the bathroom and they poop a bunch. It was really funny. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, this isn't that.
That was from a movie, wasn't it?
No, it was from a YouTube series. The first one was the funniest one. The rest weren't that good. So this is just a woman playing with her dolls, but the message is good, and I liked it. And Slickett sent it in.
If Kamala gets elected, I am leaving this country. What did you just say? I said if she gets
That was from the original one. She goes, "What did you say?"
elected, I am going somewhere else. So would you say that you don't feel safe if she gets elected? Of course I don't. So you would like to travel somewhere else where you do feel safe, where you feel better. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm doing. So you would seek asylum in another country that wasn't yours.
Gotcha, bitch.
Because you don't feel safe here. And you think that's fine. Well, I just want to point out that is a refugee. Which I think is fine. You should be able to go somewhere where you feel safe when you're running from somewhere you don't, right? But it's completely different. Different why? Different why? Because
I gotta say, this is actually really good acting with the dolls.
It is pretty good. Yeah,
it's compelling to watch. I think it still works audibly.
I'm not coming from different because you're white. Because we're white.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I got you know what? Fair and balanced here on None Taken. So for every one of those, we got an old Star Trek clip. There's only 2 clips left in the show, guys. We got this in way early. We thought this was going to be over 3 hours. This is a nice trim episode of None Taken. Does the word trim sound like it has a double meaning? Hey, do you remember like a few months ago when we played that clip of that saucy broad doing that BBC concert? And she was like, they told me to like keep it PG.
Yeah.
But I can't. And BBC, I wish I had it in me. Oh no, James, I didn't. Damn it. Okay. You wait, hold on. So we played that. Let's move on. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Move on.
When that happened, we didn't know who that was. I was like, this is some chick, and that was Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh,
you don't know who that is. That was very kind of you. Yeah.
Hmm.
You're not familiar with this Sabrina Carpenter?
I've heard that name. Somebody recently on a podcast I listened to mentioned her. I don't.
Were you listening to Power Moves with Mike Burns?
Yes.
Yeah, right. That was a terrible recommendation, by the way. I don't like that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was Power Moves. That's exactly right.
So funny. Yeah, I was like,
That's me.
Oh, wait, hold on. Abe Lincoln. I told you I was going to balance out that.
Yeah.
Hold on. I had a music book hanging halfway off of a box on the floor, and the cat just touched it and it fell on him, and he like freaked out and scampered. It was adorable. So this is an old episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah. So like what? Like a season and a half or something like that. Somehow I never knew they had Abe Lincoln on there once. And within that knowledge, I didn't also know that he said I don't think this is a good word for his time.
Excuse me, Captain Kirk.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott.
The charming negress.
I'm not going to say it. You can read it. Alan, read it.
Interesting take on offensive language circa 1960.
No, read the yellow words.
Oh, I can't see the yellow words.
We'll zoom in.
You want a fun fact about Star Trek, the original?
No, I want you to say this word.
Oh, it says ninjas.
No, it doesn't. Okay, well done. Tell me a fun Star Trek fact.
Lucille Ball was like behind it. She was the yeah. She was, like, the financier. Yeah.
Partially?
Yeah, I think largely.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Desi
Yeah.
Lou or her specifically?
Her specifically.
Wow. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, how about I play a clip for you and play a clip for you, and then I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
It's a final clip for the show. Guy had an epiphany about Kennedys.
Something's been bothering me. Why does RFK Jr. just look a little strange? And it finally hit me. No one's used to seeing an old Kennedy.
Got it. The guy figured it out.
I hate that I'm laughing at that, but that's really funny.
Oh, if you don't like it because it's a tasteless joke and maybe a pun, that one's not a pun. I got an end of show question for you.
Oh, do tell.
You're as Trump would say,
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican, partially, right?
Mhm.
Are Puerto Ricans Caribbean Mexicans? Say
Yes.
so I can. Oh, thank God. Nobody's listening, right?
Nah.
Would that make them Caribbean?
I love America.
Y'all let me in this damn house.
Oh, how about that?
Come in the name of peace.
LMFAO.
So what in the world is this?
Trump's pee-pee.
Why would you say something that stupid?
I come without explanations or solutions.
See you next time.
I'm a very sexy lady, cat turd.
I will not suffer this harlot.
How great! An anti-American Marxist.
Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
Read the news.
China is asshole.
God bless the United States.
Now this is
Podcasting.
Drive safe.
Cheers.
Cheers.